Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Thomas van der Zander, Cannabear, Gary Hughes, Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, Mr. Amish, Sensual Goat, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name Spurley, Twad Wazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, J Mels24, Yu Unamento, Iron26, Endless, Golden McKinnon, Retro Bill, Level Playing Poem, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B. Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Delwest Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, Chow Young Cat, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
Good morning to you, sir.
Let's get this ball rolling today. What are we doing today? Will Duffy again? No, man.
What? How do you know it's that?
Yes, B just posted it. I mean, this might be from yesterday's. Nathan might change the title of the video today. We'll see. I hope not, man. I hope not.
Supposedly Nathan uses the last title from yesterday because that's the setup, and then as he goes through the video, he eventually adjusts it.
But let's see if there's any new FE content. Maybe there's something else out there.
I'm back now. I'm just glancing through Master B or what there is available.
I posted some videos in the chat earlier today. I'm not sure if people can actually view it because it's from Telegram. But it was kindly donated to me from Jaron, who, believe it or not, when you send him a message by messenger, he responds very quickly and is quite courteous. But on Globebusters about 2 weeks ago, there was a gentleman that sent in videos where he was trying to film an island from 1 foot above sea level in the water. And it just so happened that in the video that he took, there was a mirroring effect of the horizon. And in between the mirroring effect, we had dolphins jumping out of the water, and they were magnified. And it is the most beautiful footage that you've ever seen. It's amazing.
Jado, can you repost that video that you're talking about again in the main text chat? I can't see it. I was just scrolling back.
I got it. Just my
got
Windows. Yeah, my Windows are doing shenanigans. I'm trying to post it in Skype.
Put in a Skype and main text chat, maybe. If
yeah, I'll do it. Yeah.
I've got more. There's 3 or 4. I'll shift them across now.
It won't let me look at that link, Jado. It's because I don't have a Telegram account, so I think somebody was saying that last night when you posted it. Droid, I think. Droid couldn't see it.
Yeah, well, it's in Skype now and in main text chat.
Yeah, it won't let me. It won't let me see it because I don't have a Telegram account, I think.
Right.
yeah, same here. I just tried. It won't let me see it.
Let me see.
Yeah, okay. So if you have a Telegram account, you can go to Jeranism links, and all the people's videos are posted on that, and then I asked him to repost them all. There's like 7 videos that he reposted in a row around about 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time today. there is an actual, so from 1 foot above the water. So the gentleman went in the water 1 foot above, and he actually picked up the island that he was trying to get from 87 miles away, midday, and while he was trying to focus on the island, you have this, as we see, sometimes we have this mirroring effect. We have the apparent horizon, and you have a segment of mirroring, and then you see these dolphins jumping out of the water, and as they come out of the water, they're magnified and mirrored, so they invert, go upside down, come the right way back. It's just absolutely amazing.
I remember Jaren showing a similar video a long time ago, and that's the one that got me to look into FE finally, because I've heard about it before. And again, it was this mirroring effect, and you can see birds go towards the horizon and disappear like in the midair. But what really happens is they're disappearing behind the mirroring of the clouds, right? So they actually are touching the water, but to the observer, it looks like they're just disappeared into thin air when actually they just went into the water, right? So that's what that reminded me of what you described of Jedo a little bit. But yeah, that's what it took. That's what it took for me to take FE seriously, is for somebody to show me a demonstration of what's going on with the horizon. And it's not what they say it is. That's what got me to take it seriously. Before that, I thought it was I thought it was a troll. I thought these people weren't serious. I thought it was a total joke. And then once I'd seen that, and he broke it down really good. He was basically like doing, you know, showing the full length video and breaking it down and saying, look what's going on here. See, look, the mask is folding in on itself. It's mirroring. And it just went down through it all. And then once I seen that, I thought, okay, wait a second, maybe this is not a joke after all. And then that's when I started pouring into it and taking it seriously. And I guess when somebody arrives at that situation, then they're actually willing to learn, right? Seems like that's the thing. It's getting people to see something that makes them want to go, okay, wait a second, maybe I better look at this closer.
Yeah, prepared to have an open conversation about it. Yeah, an honest conversation.
Yeah. Before that, I wasn't prepared for that. I shut it down on every every moment.
Yeah.
Because I know the first time I heard about Effie was actually through a friend. It wasn't on YouTube or internet or anything. So he's actually a friend I had when I lived in Toronto. He mentioned it. We were talking about all kinds of conspiracies at this moment, and I was like, "Oh yeah, really? You guys believe that or think that?" I was okay with it, but as soon as you said Fe, me and his other friend, we were like, "Okay, that is going too far." And we talked about all kinds of odd stuff, Hollow Earth and everything. And but as soon as Fe mentioned, it triggered a programming in us, because that's what it is. When people react like that, it's triggering a programming in them. See, there's no programming against like Hollow Earth or any of the other stuff that's out there, but against FE, there's programming against it. So people just default to that programming without even thinking, without even realizing they're doing it. So when you see adverse reactions in people, chances are they're reacting how they're taught to react, and you got to tiptoe around it. Because what that reaction does is it blocks people from looking at it for what it is. That's it for me. I'm gotta let somebody else do some talking.
What do you want me to cover then? There's a whole bunch of stuff then, it seems. I've already queued up how to calculate Earth's curvature and Brian's video and one other. There's loads in here. I don't actually know if any of these are relevant. One of them is a Mi'kmaq video. I don't know if that's something. It's like 8 years old.
Not worth going through Brian's, maybe.
And there's Professor Dave versus Austin and Eddie. That's in there as well. Is that something we were supposed to be covering? Nobody knows. Okay. Well, that killed the conversation. Sorry.
Is that
The Level Earth Observer has a new video about Jeranism called Projectionism with Jeranism. It might be this same old. It just published it 2 hours ago. But I don't know about that for review.
Okay, looks like we've got a fair few things to cover then.
So what is it? Is it more Antarctica trip?
I don't know. I literally didn't look at any of the choices other than Brian's video, which I did watch in full earlier.
I was talking in pre-show, Nathan. Like I was saying that since day one when this non-experiment came out, I mean, yeah, pointing out right away that it's affirmative consequence, but beyond that, it's not even worth talking, man, because I guarantee, dude, that no one is going anywhere. And anyone who for 1 second thought that anyone is going anywhere, the joke is on them.
Let me get it right, Mush. Your take is that it'll be like, I said this on Globebusters yesterday, actually, that it'll turn into another Greater Sapien moment, nothing will happen?
Yes.
You think that's what'll happen?
Absolutely nothing.
And that's what I talked about this morning too. Remember I mentioned Greater Sapien to you, Mighty?
Yeah. But I didn't know who, like, yeah. Now Nathan is saying it exactly. No one is going anywhere. And anybody who for 1 second thought they were, the joke is on them.
Why?
Because nobody's going anywhere, dude. Like,
Yeah,
think
but why
about it,
do you
man.
say that? What makes you come to that conclusion?
Because it's just one big distraction. All they're trying to do is distract you with talking about nonsense, dude. Come on, think about it. I mean, if somebody's going to Antarctica to prove something, look at the, like, $30,000. Even if it was $1,000, nobody's going anywhere, man.
Well, we've both seen the Taboo Conspiracy video of like all these things you got to qualify for to be able to even go there. There's all these rules and regulations that through the roof. Remember it was called Antarctica Closed or something like that by Taboo Conspiracy? It was a really popular video. It was mirrored everywhere, even on Globebusters.
Yeah, honestly, like I said it before, I don't believe that you can go down there, but we can keep that as a conspiracy theory. We don't have to go into that.
Well, you're actually describing a narcissistic technique called future faking. And the general premise, if I can put it into a context that's as it's been explained to me, so I can just paraphrase it quickly. So if you've got a guy that's the narcissist in this example, and he's telling the woman that he's love bombed and just wants to keep strung along, that he's going to marry her, yeah? Well, in that moment, the desired result, the excitement, the need for, the narcissist in this instance from the victim, is achieved the moment you say it. That is to say, once you've said it, you've achieved the desired outcome. You don't actually have to do the event at all.
Pretty much.
Yeah? So the desired
Yep.
outcome, which is to say, well, okay, saying that you're going to go down to Antarctica can develop a huge amount of discourse. Then you just don't do anything. But the outcome's been achieved already without having to go down at all. I think that's where you're coming from.
Yep. Something like that. Yeah. That's a pretty good analogy.
Do you mind if I chime in here? A little input?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So as an electrician, I've applied with the Australian Antarctic Commission numerous times to go down and work on some of the bases. So the fact of the matter is that you can't just fly to the 78th degree south with no psychological training, no separation, and no structural safety management training. It's just impossible. There is structures in place to help people cope with, first of all, getting there, and the activities that are undertaking, which are completely contrary to what you're used to. So as soon as this circus come about, my ears pricked up. So I have a friend of mine that was a work colleague, and we applied together many years ago. And since then, he's done. His name is Michael. He's an electrician. He's done 5 Antarctica trips, 2 of which have been extended. So that is basically from winter to winter. Sorry, from summer to summer. So through a winter to summer. And this guy's a flat earther. So not really sure how this Duffy guy proposes that they're just going to jump on a plane and fly there on a certain date and stay there and watch the sun and then jump on a plane and come back. It's a whole heap of nonsense.
I think I kind of agree and I kind of disagree. There are literally package holidays that they can offer you to go down there, and I would assume that there is a certain amount of that incorporated into the package deal that they offer for 30 grand. Let's just say, as that's the figure that Will Duffy's talking about. So if you assume that exorbitant amount of money is going towards things like that, to a lesser degree than someone like your mate or Robert Shortman, who echoed the exact same sentiment, which is to say he had to spend a significant amount of time in the Falklands before he went down to Antarctica getting acclimatized so he could spend a prolonged period down there. I think if you're going down in the summer period, if you listen to his testimony in regards to how he would be dressed in the Antarctic summer, he would be like, yeah, there's snow everywhere, and yeah, it's, you've still got to clear it all and stop it all icing over everything that you're working on, but you can be outside in a t-shirt if you're acclimatized. But given that he, when he's acclimatized, is out in the Antarctic summer in a t-shirt, it would be at least reasonable to assume that without any acclimatization and a very, very short stay, you could just go down there and it's not as risky if you're not going to be spending weeks or even months down there. Like Mr. Beast did. He's a typical example of somebody that could just, with the money, just go down, see the penguins, come back. And I'm not saying it's going to be a day, but it might be a week or 10 days or whatever, it entails. But part of that would be that process. In other words, they're not just going to fly you to Antarctica and dump you off the plane.
No, but going for a holiday there under certain circumstances, that's not 78 degrees south. That's 66 to 69 degrees at pointed tip. So first and foremost, when you go below 66 degrees, so when you go below 69 degrees, there's certain safety practices that have to happen. That is, when you go outside, you can only go outside in groups of 4. And one of those groups of 4, so in those groups of 4, there has to be someone trained in recovery, like tip recovery. There has to be someone trained in CPR. That can't just happen when people jump on a plane and fly. It's just absurd, and I agree with, I think it was a Mush, that it just ain't going to happen.
I don't know,
It's
for
just not gonna
35
happen.
grand, I think that's what I would be expecting that huge amount of cost to be going towards. The 20-day trip involving a couple of days down in Antarctica and the rest of it being essentially a process of mild acclimatization. but with the expensive equivalent of a Sherpa if you're going up a mountain. You know what I mean? The guy that can do all that with all the CPR training and rescue training and all that sort of stuff. So each group of 4 does have that, but that's part of the why it costs so much money. That guy's getting $5,000 to be there for 2 days. But maybe not. Maybe you're right. I mean, like I say, I can only go by Robert Shortman's testimony, but I think I can only assume it would be different if you're spending a prolonged period down there, based on the fact that people do go down there. There are enough videos on YouTube for me to say, yeah, people do go down there. And the rebuttal is, well, they only go to this particular point and they just see the penguins. And you're like, yeah, okay. But they do go down there. I'm going to have to start modifying my own language, aren't I?
Yeah, but we're talking about to the public.
I think the only barrier is money. That's it. If you want to go down there, you can. It might. Yeah, I'm not decrying what you say. But, I mean, you know, I like having a few bets on the table. One of those bets is now it won't come to fruition. I like it. I mean, I don't care either way if they go or not, but I'm just saying I like that there's someone else who's put their, 2 pennyworth in and gone, yeah, I don't think they'll even make it down there. It'll just fade into obscurity come summer. It won't ramp up. Or it'll ramp up and then just not happen for an excusable reason that they'll give. And then I'll be, next year we'll do this all again. It's like, well, isn't this the second time we've done it already? Didn't we do this with Greater Sapien? I'm pretty sure we did. So maybe history will repeat itself and, oh no, we can't actually go down, so we won't see the disappointment of us failing. Will be the thing that the flat earthers with the model chant. We'll see. It's good to have you 2 pennyworth.
Well, that's right. I guess we can wait and see. But I could say I'm not holding my breath, so to say.
Hey, Craig.
Hiya. Is that Neil going to let me get a word in edgeways today?
I'm sure you will.
I heard him moaning about me yesterday.
Who's him?
Neil was moaning about people not being as interactive as they should be.
Was he talking to you?
I think so. I was going to reply, but I just couldn't get a word in edgeways.
Not talking about me,
Neil
are you?
snitched on me yesterday.
Yeah, you were doing a little call to action
there,
for the
Neil?
people who joined G Plus yesterday, Neil.
Yes, Neil, I was talking
Are you
about
there, Neil?
you.
About what? What are we talking about?
Oh God, it was yesterday. Literally, it was yesterday.
Oh, you're the one. Hold on a second. You're the one that never remembers anything, and now you're going to turn around because you remember something and say to me, it was yesterday?
Yes.
Okay, yesterday. We were talking about, all right, let me get it. You were simping for Jaron. Oh, Witsit, I got it.
No, Neil, you were moaning that we'd gone to a little bit of effort, and I do mean a little bit of effort, to add a few more people to G Plus by adding them onto the Skype group that the G Plus link gets shared out on. And you said, well, there was a few enthusiastic souls initially, but where are they all now? And I was like, there's 4 people in here, what's your problem? You're like, where's all the people that started joining a week or 2 ago? Do you remember now?
Now it's ringing a bell, yes. Yeah, where is everybody?
I'm here.
Craig's here.
Good to have you, Craig. You're the best.
I knew you'd say that.
Hey guys, I feel like I've been on the Skype and that. I feel like lot of times I listen a bit and just can only have the odd word, and I don't know if I'm correct or not. Sometimes I feel if I'm coming in there, I need to be more talkative, but sometimes I know I can't be with work commitments and things. So
No.
that's why I don't always come in.
You just joined G Plus one deck, and why don't you tell Nathan what happened yesterday with this moron right before QE show? I think that's worthy of taking it apart. Mr. What's his name? Bacon. Because I came in on the end. I don't know where it started, but what were they trying to say?
Well, I think there was just basically, I think he was saying something along the lines as the previous conversation Nathan was having with somebody, that they were stating that latitude measurements has got nothing to do with Polaris. I think it was going down that road again.
Right, they called it sorcery or witchery or something like that. And they say it don't, they're talking about fixes and they don't match up if you try it. Oh, nonsense. Yeah, maybe on a globe they don't match up. But this guy Bacon is a very annoying guy, man. You're sitting there with a label, Flat Earth, and all you're doing is coming in with stupid challenges because you don't know Earth is flat.
You still there, Craig?
Yeah, sorry, as usual, the phone rang just at the most inappropriate moment.
Are you still on the phone?
No, I just put it down.
Ah, okay. Have you been keeping up with these high-end Intel processors and the dealio?
No.
So one of the tech tubers did an expose because they've got access to some of these servers for the games, and they were showing like 100% of their failures and crashes were down to the high-end Intel chips. And then over time, over the last maybe 10 days, there's been more and more of these reports coming out, and some of them saying, oh yeah, we had the issue when it was 13th gen and they just replaced them all with 14th gen, and they work for about a month and then fail. The point being that they're not domestic chips, right? They're on server boards, so they're not overclocked, they're not overvolted, they're not being pushed, they're on very low power because they're super efficient, and they're still failing. You're like, my God, the level of failure rates on these chips is just astronomical. I had no idea it was that bad. Now, I'm sure because I've talked to you about it months ago, it doesn't fuss me because of the previous system being so twitchy. I'd learned how to twiddle all the knobs, so to speak. So all I've been doing is just edging the voltage up every time it comes unstable. I've just faced the fact that it probably won't last very long. Eventually it'll fail, probably when it's out of warranty. But most people don't know how to do that. So when I'm reading through these reports, you're like, people have got this issue. The issue I had within a day, literally a few days, it started doing this out of memory issue. And I'm just like, oh, let's have a quick look at the voltage. Oh, that seems low. I'll turn it up a bit. And I've just constantly done that, like 0.5 millivolts at a time. Just, oh, all right, it's unstable again. Bollocks. Oh, it's crashed. Shit, I better turn the voltage up a little bit more. So I just nudge it up and up and up and up and up and up. And I'm up something like 0.65 offset now, positive offset. But most people don't know how to do that. So they're just, like, since they've come out, they're just suffering with these systems just crashing. And you're like, wow. And Intel are doing nothing about it. Like, literally nothing. It's nuts. I don't think there's been a situation like this previously.
I think quality control has just gone out the window recently, especially in the last few years. I mean, people are just selling stuff and it's not tested. Definitely not tested.
Yeah. One of the other tech tubers, that Frame Chasers guy, said the exact same thing. It's like you buy it, and whether or not it works isn't a guarantee anymore. It used to be that you bought a board, you bought a chip, you stuck it in, it worked. Now, if you fiddle with it, you take your chances. But it isn't like that anymore. You buy it, you stick it in, it doesn't work, and you're on your own. Now you better figure out how to make it work, is their attitude. And you're like, unless the thing's physically exploded, like the AMD chips did about 12 months ago, unless it's physically burnt a hole in the motherboard, they're not interested. They don't do anything. They don't care. They're like literally ignoring everybody. You're like, wow. Times have changed so much.
They're calling it the competency crisis.
I mean,
I think they're taking advantage of the younger generation. I will say that. Who sort of come to me and say, well, is it got a warranty? Well, yeah, everything you buy new should have a warranty, at least 1 year. But they don't seem to think that. So I just think they're taking advantage of it.
Yeah, they are. Not just Intel, lots of the other manufacturers are doing the exact same thing. So that's another thing, aside from the CPU Intel issue that they've currently got. A load of the other manufacturers have suddenly had all of their RMA emails leaked, and there's tens of thousands of RMAs that are just fobbing customers off, and you can see all the email exchanges. And you're like, man, these companies are scum. I just round this out with this one last thing, just a TikTok video I saw, because it had happened more than once. Samsung reps going out to customer faults with firmware, taking a Stanley knife to like a 50-inch telly, going, "Oh look, it's damaged, no warranty," and the reps done it, and they've been caught a couple of times with Samsung TVs. The reps doing this to people's massive tellies. So you've got a telly, it just won't tune into the station. The software's buggered. You call your Samsung rep going, "Oh, can you just, maybe do a download of a firmware update or something?" "Oh, yeah, no worries, I'll be around." And then they knife your telly. No, you've damaged it.
Oh, well. I just don't think we need to buy technology. Let's just get the old stuff back out. Let's get the old Sinclairs back out.
I mean, the sentiment of stuff just functionally working. But there's a lot of... Your nostalgia might not be true in terms of your memory of things just working. Because they didn't either. They didn't. Nothing ever just works. That's an Apple lie that we've all been sold.
There was a stage where RAM was short. And they used to design programs to say, well, yeah, we need to use that resources. And then all of a sudden, RAM was, cheap. So they stopped bothering.
Yeah. Right, I better get this show on the road, don't I? 2 minutes to the hour.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Afternoon.
Afternoon. Good to have you. Welcome. I haven't done any housekeeping questions for a while. And so long, in fact, that it's probably worth highlighting the reason we do them. So, in years gone by, we've had arguments that are presented to us that we want to memorialise in terms of their defeat, their death. And we memorialise them with housekeeping questions. Now, if the answers to the question aren't forthcoming, that is to say, obvious in terms of how, in some instances, the contradictory question is explained within the question. If not, it gets a qualifier or a stony silence if there's actually globe believers potentially here to answer it. I don't know what that case is today, and I'm not going to find out. I'm just going to ask a few of them. So, any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth? I'll take that as a no. One of the things I had to do for the book that I'm currently in the process of writing was verbalise a story about Thea, which is a story that's been told plenty of times on the show, but it's normally my paraphrasing of whatever Discovery Channel and encyclopedic reference that I've got in terms of their description. That's heliocentrists' made-up story about the impact of Thea on the fledgling Earth prior to it being the Earth that we know today. In other words, their description of why we have a moon and an oversized molten iron core. Oversized because in their timeline it doesn't quite fit the core that we have, giving us their global magnetic field would have cooled down. So to overcome that problem, they have this impact trajectory of a planet called Thea smashing into Earth when Earth's only Mars size. And the glancing blow is such that it doesn't destroy the fledgling Earth, but instead deposits its juicy, delicious molten iron core in Earth's molten iron core. And the debris forms the moon. That is why, bits of wood that come from the moon, when you traverse a sky vacuum in violation of natural law, are very similar to the stuff that we find on Earth, and indeed the Antarctic moon rocks that could have only come from the moon. So there you go.
I don't know about that, Nathan. In New York City, yesterday, there was a meteor that hit well, it burnt up in the atmosphere, but right through the Statue of Liberty. What do you got to say about that? Explain meteorites on a flat Earth, buddy, Mr. Bookman.
You're saying you can actually show me a meteor impact in New York? Really? I didn't know that.
That's what they said. I was going to ask Eli if you heard about it. It was all over the news today. And it was funny listening to the sports radio guys talk about it because they were trying to get the distance to the moon and they were talking about measurements and how far it is. And I was like, boy, they have no clue. If they were only educated, they would realize that it's flat.
Jardo says Neil is a snitch. Thank you for the super chat, Jardo.
Oh, that's another thing. Somehow, I'm a member again.
Yeah, Jardo specifically told you that he would be buying you a membership, and the fact that you had one bought for you was highlighted in the live show. Is everything okay, Neil?
Yeah, but I lost reception, so I don't know what happened. I came on and I'm a member. Thank you, Jardo.
We got there in the end. Yes, indeed. Thank you, Jardo, for buying all those memberships yesterday. If you are a member, you get to check out the Uncut and After Show. There was an interaction with a globe Earth proponent who denied the fundamental measurements that build his globe. It was quite eye-opening.
Come on, give his name, Platypus.
Yes, G.E. Platypus was the person. So if you want to check that out, it's towards the end of yesterday's after show. Whatever number that is. I haven't actually got the show number in front of me and I can't remember what it is. It was 2147, yesterday's Uncut and After Show. If you happen to have picked up a free membership, or indeed you'd like to buy a membership, I strongly encourage you do. Maybe with my strong encouragement that people should buy a membership to get access to literally thousands of hours of material, we should cover Jeran today. So, Level Earth Observer, one housekeeping question's all you're getting in case you were wondering. Level Earth Observer did a video that only came out in the last couple of hours. I did happen to watch it. Where it is? Here we go. So, this is kind of a bit odd because on the one hand, I'm going to agree with the sentiment that you're going to hear in this video, which is a bit disappointing because there's no need for it. Now, I'm going to expand on what I mean by that. So, the sentiment that you're going to hear from Level Earth Observer is that Level Earth Observer is being claimed, like I am, to be a grifter. That is to say that in Jeran's mind, him recognising the danger of this affirming the consequent fallacy that is assuming you are antipodal when you go to Antarctica to potentially observe a 24-hour sun. He says that because I assume he hasn't recognised the fallacy, this is before I highlighted him the fallacy via Skype, he assumed that that would mean we would be in danger and the flat earth we punt is the grift that would be in danger by Jeran's righteous endeavour to see if it is actually a globe when you assume antipodal positioning. So with all that in mind, we're being called a grifter, that's Level Earth Observer and myself, because we punt flat earth and there might be a danger to it that apparently we're decrying. Okay, so you've got the general outline of what's going on. Now, in response to this, Level Earth Observer has gone to Jeran's shop and gone, look, Jeran's got stuff for sale, some of which is his time. Now, when I saw that, I thought, oh, that's a good idea. It's kind of akin to what Brian's done, or suggested he would do. If somebody's like, I want you to come and waste your time on my show where I shout at you, call you an idiot, shut you down and mute you, and tell the audience it's a neutral platform. Come and do that now, or I'll call you a coward, and names. And Brian's response to that is, pay me 1,500 euros. Well, Jeran has done something similar. He hasn't phrased it in that way. He's phrased it for life coaching. And to be honest, it doesn't actually matter. If he's selling his time, and his time is valuable, everyone's time is valuable. Well, not everybody's. But anyway, my point is, he's got his time and his knowledge and information to sell, and he's selling it for a price. Now, from that perspective, I go, fair enough. Nothing wrong with that. You know, if you've got...
What knowledge?
Huh? Say again?
What knowledge and what information is he selling?
It's not
and
relevant.
who's scamming who?
It's not
Holy shoot.
relevant. I'm getting there, Neil. Just bear with me. Right, it's not relevant, right? The market dictates whether or not what he has to sell is valuable. Yeah, you pay your money, you take your choice, you assess it after you've paid for it. If you don't see good value, you moan about it. That's different. That is not what I'm pointing out. What I'm pointing out is that this ability to market yourself and sell yourself is perfectly a reasonable endeavor. You know, in the same way I'm bleating about, look, I'm a family man and want to earn money for my family. Well, in the same way, so's Jeran, right? And he wants to earn money for his family, and he's got his time to sell, and he can sell it. There's nothing wrong with that. Until you start calling other people grifters. Now, from that perspective, Level Earth Observer has a point, which is to say, I don't make any money from this. My channel's not monetized. I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it to point out the Level Earth that I observe, right? Based on his title. And he, like we, also decries what, in quotes, is deemed to be flat Earth. You know, he, like we, also sees that flat Earth is a bastardization of the very level and flat Earth that we actually experience and measure and navigate. And it's turned into some meme of idiots that he doesn't want any part of, and I can completely agree with him. Now, I've got no issue calling myself a flat earther. He does. And it, again, isn't that relevant. What's relevant for him in his point is that he's suggesting, Level Earth Observer is suggesting, that it's projection. That is to say that, let's rephrase it and repackage it. Jeran's income potentially is viewed by Jeran as being threatened. And therefore, because of which he's projecting that threat onto Level Earth Observer, but by suggesting that Level Earth Observer is taking part in some sort of grift. Now, that's great for him because he can just throw it straight back at Jeran and go, I'm not actually earning anything, and you're asking hundreds of dollars for courses that you're putting out. So this is projection. Now, normally I wouldn't get involved in this wrangle dangle, but for the fact that my name is also mentioned right in the middle of this. So I have to sort of split my view on how I approach this, because I have absolutely no issue whatsoever with what Jeran's doing in terms of charging people money for courses. And right up until the point that he starts calling me a grifter, you know, I'm not going to start juxtaposing what I don't have with what he does and say, well, I'm not charging $400 for a course in self-awareness, therefore he's a scammer. Like, I wouldn't dare. But he is doing that. So it isn't necessary that I start comparing and contrasting the fact that, I don't know, 8 years ago I put a Spreadshirt t-shirt shop up that sold maybe 5 or 10 items, tops, to a 500 quid course or $400 course, right? The two things aren't comparable, but I don't want it to be on the record that I'm comparing them, because I don't decry his methodology to try and earn a living. There's nothing wrong with it. Until you start calling other people grifters for just talking about flat Earth. And why is it a grift? Well, because there's a potential danger in Antarctica that Jeran's willing to explore, and therefore us continuing to point out and affirming the consequent fallacy makes us defenders of the flat Earth grift. It just seems unreasonable. I wanted to break it down, but I needed to get my disclaimers in that I disagree in a way that doesn't actually criticize Level Earth Observer, because he's perfectly within his rights to say this is projection. I'm not doing anything for money, and you are. So who's the grifter? Who's the one asking for money? Me, I can't really take that position, especially as I fundamentally disagree with it. You know, I actually raised my eyebrows and go, oh, good idea. Maybe I should do that. Next time some Glober says, you should be on my show. Oh, you can buy that on my shop. Check it out. 300 quid and you can have me on your show. It takes PayPal and credit cards. Feel free. Check it out. You know, in other words, I sort of smiled when I saw it. But Level Earth Observer's being critical of it. So it does need this peppering of disclaimers from me before I get into the video. Before I do, is there any questions?
I do. That is actually a thing, because I watch Samuel Bogravano. He was the underboss and with Gotti, and he has a thing in there too where you could buy time, where you pay and you get a one-on-one with him for like a half an hour.
Yeah.
So it is a thing.
Yeah, there's an entire website called OnlyFans based on this premise. I mean, you know what I mean? It's not exactly complicated. Anyway.
So the handful of people that came across to my channel trying to defend Jeran from the Jeranism channel and his faulty logic, none of them could address the false claims, the accusations of me being a liar and a grifter. All they could do was try and strawman me with Jeran's concept of what he believes the flat earth is.
Just to clarify that, he's saying, like, we object to azimuthal equidistant projections of a globe that have come from origins in flat earth measurements of Polaris for latitude lines to wrap around the globe. He's saying the end result, azimuthal with a sun and moon rotating about it, is a concept. That's how he's phrasing it. Again, we actually, the more I watch of Level Earth Observer, the more what on surface level seems like he's critical of us because he's talking about flat earth. I would say flat earth in quotes, because that arena, that group isn't us anymore, but we're still flat earthers. Well, he's detached himself from that, so some of his phraseology doesn't match ours, but most of his sentiment does match our sentiment. So the more I watch of him, the more I think, oh, I really like this guy.
I'm just going to play a very short snippet from the original video, and then we're going to go to Jeran's website. And I don't really need to say anything, but let's just listen.
Well, you can just listen in a second because I'm going to do a call to action. So it's not the first time we've covered Level Earth Observer, but in the same way as I would do this for literally anybody, friend or foe, please go to Level Earth Observer's channel. He is actually a friendly. It is nice to promote people that are on our side in the most sincere way possible. Go and give him a like, go and give him a subscription, and go and leave a comment, more importantly than anything, saying at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. It won't be the first time he's received these messages, and I'm sure it won't be the last. But please let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. And if you do happen to subscribe, maybe let him know that. At Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, love your stuff, I subscribed. I love that. When I get that kind of message, I love that. Just so you know. Because I'm sure he's no different. You get that kind of message and go, oh, my subscriber count's growing. Wicked. Someone sent people my way. Oh, that's awesome. Especially when you're in the arena he and I are in, where we don't get any algorithmic love. This may be the only algorithmic love he gets for a while. Anyway, please let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. You can see the link to this particular video, which is called The Projectionism with Jeranism. Yeah, go and give him a comment. Go and give him a like. Go and subscribe. Check out his videos. I'm going to do that now, because when people see you actually doing it, they're more likely to do it themselves. That's me giving him a like. Hopefully you'll do the same. Hopefully I've done this call to action enough times to get people to actually do it and then come back. What do you reckon? Have I done that long enough? Links in the live stream chat. And I mean it, by the way. Sometimes people listen to this and they're like, yeah, I'll wait it out till you get into the video. Well, don't. Actually go and subscribe to him. Hey, Chocolate.
Morning.
Morning. Okay, I'm going to suggest that is enough time for some of my audience to actually go and let Level Earth Observer know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a nice polite comment, no swearing. The idea of this, I will point this bit out to round out my call to action, is that were Level Earth Observer to actually comment on what we have responded to him with in this regard, so let's say we were critical of him and he was responsive and made a video and said, Nathan Oakley says that I think this is wrong and I am not wrong. Here's why. I would hope that in that circumstance he put a link to my video, like we're putting a link to his. Anyway, that is definitely enough time for a few people to have gone along and left him a comment and subscribed. Let's get into it. Was there someone who was trying to get a comment in before I do? No? Right, let's crack on.
Listen to the clip.
Afraid of their grift ending. Afraid of their whatever they've set up. This is why Nathan Oakley will lie to you. This is why Low Earth Observer Leo will lie to you, or Level Earth Observer. He's just a liar.
So I'm afraid of my grift drying up or whatever, and I'm just a liar. No one could justify that statement, those words that Jeran has just spoken. No one could put any evidence forward to highlight that I'm a liar or that I'm in on a grift. In fact, all the evidence that has come since then just shows that this video that we're going to play today is going to be called Projectism by Jeranism. Bear with me. Okay, so I'm over the website of the man that accused me of 1, of being a grifter, and 2, of being a liar. Of course, he had no evidence, and no one could provide any evidence of those claims. But when we look at the shop of this man in question, Jeran, becomes obvious this man's just projecting his own dark ways. We got some...
Yeah, I kind of have to interject there. I'll go with projection. I'll agree with you. Right, for whatever reason, what's about to be shown to my audience is obviously, and you can't really draw any other conclusions, perceived to be threatened. Yeah, that's the only conclusion you can draw. So that doesn't mean he's dark. Yeah, it means he's in full defensive mode. Now, from what people...
Oh, he's dark.
Number one, it's not relevant. Number two, the attachment to that claim comes in the form of him charging for his time. Hence, I'd feel unreasonable if I didn't defend things that I think are reasonable to do. Yeah? Now, there might be people in the comments that go, $400 for a no, that's outrageous. Well, then you don't buy it, do you? You know, the market dictates whether or not these things sell. And if that's the going rate for an hour with Jeran, or a day with Jeran, or a dinner with Jeran, then that is the going rate. That's perfectly reasonable. You can't then call him dark for that. That's outrageous.
Is he qualified? Is he qualified to give people life instructions? Is he? Because I heard a few of his things, giving marriage counsel to people. Is he qualified? Does he have degrees?
I don't know.
No, he doesn't.
That's not what we're concerned about. We're concerned about the claims that Level Earth Observer has right when he says this is projection. There is no grift for he or I to protect. Only yesterday when Jardo was specifically talking about memberships. I'm like, you're under no obligation. Thank you for your contributions to date. But there is no obligation. Everything I put out is free. If you don't want to give me a dime, you can see everything I have to offer. Subscribe to my second channel if you don't want to become a member. I encouraged it earlier as a segue into this bit. But you don't have to. You can watch the show I recommended 20 minutes ago on my second channel. It'll come out in a week. So you have to wait a week. That's it. So there's no grift. Other than, yeah, I do want money. Yes, I do want to keep the lights on. Yes, I do want to pay my mortgage. Yes, it'd be nice to feed my kids. Those things require money. Therefore, at various points in my show, I'm going to e-beg. Encourage people to give me money. Of their own volition. There's no obligation. And there's no obligation to buy one of Jeran's courses. Yeah? So it's only the aspect of projection that I agree with. Jeran is doing that when he claims we're grifting. It's like, okay, well, you do have courses available that cost money. So what other conclusion can we draw than we're a threat to that? For whatever reason. Well, yeah, he's going to see that as a threat when he's receiving it from all sides. I have to employ a certain degree of empathy when I'm being told Jeran's being attacked from every side. Some people who stood alongside him for a long time are deserting him and attacking him over this involvement that he has with this quasi-experiment. So from a human standpoint, I go, well, that's crap. I've experienced it when Bob did it to me. Not that I should really draw that slightly unreasonable comparison, but it is true. So I can empathise. But on the other hand, you go, this guy's calling him dark. He's essentially claiming he's evil for trying to earn a crust. Well, I don't know. I can't agree with that. But I can agree with the projection aspect when he claims we're grifters. I'm not a grifter. I'm not grifting anything. You don't have to give me a dime. If you choose to, because you want to support what I do, that means you do, there is no doubt about it, value what I do and hope that you want to keep me going and know that if I don't pay my mortgage and can't keep the lights on, I won't keep going. So people who want to keep me going, give me money with no obligation to do so. But the same applies to Jeran. It's exactly the same standard. Anyway, I've said that 2 or 3 times now. Let's get on with it.
Leaf powder capsules for $30. You can buy a 15-minute meeting with Jeran for $3. Oh, Jeran's a counsellor now as well. you can get a consultation and counselling for $100. No, you're definitely not in on a grift, are you, Jaron? General donations for $1. Monthly support.
You've stooped to his level now. So you're accusing him of being a grifter. Yeah? Why is this a grift? I get it. You know, defend your position. You're not earning any money, and it's clear that you feel threatened because you do want to earn your money. That doesn't mean you need to go out calling everyone grifters. We're not. But when you sink to Jaron's level and start saying, well, you're a grifter because you charge money for services, that's normal.
$15. A dinner Zoom party with Jaron for $249. But I'm in on a...
See, I'd want more. No, I'm only
I was
joking.
just going to say, he's selling himself pretty cheap. $3 for 15 minutes?
Yeah. There's probably a lot of people that want 15 minutes of his time here and there. And he's like, well, okay, $3 seems reasonable. You want 15 minutes? Yeah, $3. Great. That seems perfectly reasonable. I don't see any issue with any of this. Now, you might go, I'm not paying that.
And I'm going to...
Well, don't.
Hold on, I don't either, and I'm going to take that I am going to set up a meeting for $3 with Jaron, because there's a few things I need to discuss with him.
Well, perfect.
Thank you very much, Flat Level Earth Observer.
Yeah, inadvertently, you've advertised Jaron's services, as it should be. I hope you do give Jaron $3 for 15 minutes of his time. Not so you can have a bloody go at him. Hope you don't do that. But you know what I mean? You know, you see that there's value in talking to Jaron. You want to bend his ear for 15 minutes. Then it'll cost you $3. I hope you get a few sales out of this, Jaron. Not because I want to annoy Level Earth Observer, but because I hope the same is reciprocated. Not from you, but in general terms. So I don't want to be crabs in a bucket, which is essentially what Jaron's doing to us when he calls us grifters. Like crabs in a bucket. Yeah? Oh, well, look at that person. They're climbing up the side of the bucket. Better drag them back down again. And tit for tat, Level Earth Observer's doing the same. Well, you're a grifter. Well, you're a grifter. You're a grifter. It's like, no, crabs in a bucket. Yeah? Let him stand on your shoulders. Now, it's hard to do that, very, very hard, when they're calling you a grifter. When they're calling you a scammer. It's hard to do. But, I don't want to sink to Jaron's level in that regard. So, yeah, I hope Jaron gets a few consultations out of it. I hope a few people give him $3. Because they want to talk to him. Good. In 10 years, if I ended up doing the same thing, for whatever reason, in the exact same way, I'd hope that my closest competitor, if you want to consider me and Jaron competitors, wouldn't go out of their way to screw me for no good reason when I'm just trying to earn a coin. And here's Jaron trying to earn a coin. Don't call him a grifter for it. Defend your position that you're not. Point out how unreasonable that is. And definitely, as you have done it, it's your main overriding point. Otherwise, I wouldn't have covered this. It is projection. Pick points that people can't disagree with you on. I hate to do that. I don't know Level Earth Observer. I shouldn't really be offering him advice. This is his bag, right?
A grift. Wow. Anything else? Oh, coming soon. The Secret. What have we got here? This is a joke. The ISM secret course and coaching. $400 pretty much. What are we getting for this? The ISM secret course and coaching. Coming soon. Are you ready for your life to change for the better? I have something special that I could never figure out how to disclose. I decided to let this information out to a few select people. What a joke. $400 for Jeranism's secret course. Yet the man thinks demonstrable reality is wrong. So he's got the logic of a pebble. Projects left, right and centre, accusing someone who's never asked for a penny of being a grifter and a liar. Yet when you look at their shop, suddenly this flat earth...
He could have just ended it there. When you juxtapose it with his shop, you sink into his level, really, you are. You don't buy it. What's that? Too much? In the pre-show, we were talking about tech stuff, right? And one of the guys that we were talking about was a guy called Frame Chasers. This guy does tech consultations. He tunes people's computers, and he works with some quite large game streamers, typically Call of Duty game streamers, that are earning money. They're doing it professionally to earn money. And as a result, they don't care about spending 10 grand on a computer if it gives them just a tiny little edge, right? Now, with that in mind, this guy is overrun with people who want him to tune their computer. And originally he was charging $100 to do a consultation. And sure enough, people come along and go, well, that's outrageous. Just tell me. They go, no, it's $100. Now, over the course of about 2 years, he went from $100 to $200 to $300 to $400 to $500. And eventually he was going, I don't want to do them. They just take up too much time. They're too much aggravation. I still do, because typically I'll do them off the back of somebody who spent several £1,000s on another computer. They don't know how to fix it. They need the help, and they're in my Discord server chatting away. I pity them, and then I'll charge them $500. You're like, why wouldn't you? He's got knowledge. He's got information. He can charge $500. More power to you. You know what I mean? It's like, if you've got a service and people think it's too expensive, they won't buy it. Yeah? It's just that simple. Anyway, the point isn't that there's a comparable service that you can say is perfectly legitimate and justifiable easily. And if you don't want to pay that price, you won't pay it. And if you want the service, you will. It's only when you start calling it a grift, a swell, that suddenly we're just as bad as them. We're all crabs in a bucket now, yanking each other down. There isn't that much more of this video to go. Shall I play the rest of it?
Wannabe legend is offering consultations, offering dinner Zoom chats, and all sorts of silly stuff.
Why is it silly? Good for him. If he can be successful doing that, it means I can be. It's like when I promote Scientism. So like when I've given out Level Earth Observer's link. I'll do that now. If it was a Scientism video, I'd be doing this as well. Go and let Scientism know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Help Scientism in the YouTube algorithm where we get no YouTube help. The hope being that Scientism would put our link. In other words, I'm promoting what I hope will be paid forward. Yeah? Well, if I hope that in future there would come a time where I could charge for my time and people would want to pay me for it, I would hope that there wasn't some guy behind me going, you decried the idea of having an elevation angle come from a tangent plane, therefore you're a grifter. You know, when I put it into the context of a globe defender saying that his indefensible position has been ignored, therefore I'm a grifter, it's like, that's not reasonable. You know, attack my argument. Don't suddenly say because I charge money for consultations, because people do want to learn about, I don't know, elevation angles. Let's say I did it tomorrow. People really wanted to grill me on how it works. Not that I'm an expert, but I'm just using that as an example. Well, then I'd hope that I would, you know, justify my $200 that I was charging that person, and they left happy. And that's all I'd hope for. But if I start saying, well, Jaren's a grifter because he's charging $400 for consultations and Zoomed meals, well, so what? Good for him. If he can do it, so can I. Good, that's great. It's another avenue I might be exploring in a few years' time. Anyway, anybody else got any comment based on what I've said? No? I thought the crabs in a bucket comment at the very least would get people talking.
Vote with your money. Don't buy what you don't want, simply.
He came in a bit garbled. Say that again, Craig.
Yeah, vote with your money. If you don't want to buy it, don't buy it. If nobody buys it, it'll go away.
Yeah. That's the other thing when people see a high price on something. You're like, it's outrageous he's earning all this money. No, he's not. Like putting something on eBay for double the price it's actually worth. And you look at it and go, oh, that person's overcharging. You're like, no. No one's going to buy it. If the price isn't right, people won't pay. You know, you vote with your feet, don't you? Oh, well, that's too expensive.
He was just pointing out. He was just pointing out that Jaren is the one that's worried. That's all he was doing.
Yes, yeah, and everything up to that last sentence he said, I agreed with. It's only when you start saying, You're calling me a grifter and saying I'm a liar, and there's no evidence that I'm a grifter. I don't earn any money from this, and I'm not a liar. There's been no evidence presented. You're the grifter. Yeah, oh, God, now you've lowered the standard, haven't you? I hate being critical of a level Earth observer, because it's a bit of a crap sandwich for you, I'm afraid, mate, if you're listening. Sorry. Do you agree? It's bad to sink to the level of the person that's projecting in this instance?
Yes.
I think he could have phrased it differently.
Yeah, I just pray that if I am in the position that Jaren is in and charging time for my services, not that I've got any to charge for at the moment, that I had happy customers, that people gave me money for what I had to offer and left happy and said thank you at the end, and I thanked them for their money and I paid my mortgage with it. That would be wonderful. So it would be hypocritical or crass or whatever word you want to use if I start doing the same as Level Earth Observer is doing. Going, yeah, look at Jaren with his grift. Well, I don't see it that way. Shout out to Tom. Says, can't believe Nathan grifted me. 2 membership. Was it a grift getting you to join as a member, was it, Tom? Just put that on screen. Now, I can put a hand on heart and say I'm not conning anybody. You know, I put education under the name of each show. We go through things that you can verify for yourself, as much as that sounds so cliche.
Yeah, well, see, Nathan, I think you do have information that people need. And you can sell your time one-on-ones, breaking down what logical fallacies are, breaking down how Earth is measured flat. That's good, useful knowledge.
It's just not good marketing. So for 100 years, people were trying to best Coca-Cola by trying to invent something that was better tasting and cheaper. And nobody even came close. 100 years, right? So who do you think actually came close to beating Coca-Cola at their own game? Red Bull.
Fanta.
Red Bull. Right?
Red Bull. Oh.
Yeah, costs twice as much as Coke, comes in a tiny can, tastes like garbage. Yeah? They didn't try and do what they did. They created a new market that was more expensive. Okay? So this isn't a recent criticism, but I have had this in the course of my flat Earth career. People pointing out that you need to make what you have to offer more valuable. Yeah, at the moment you're offering it up for nothing. So let's just take that under our wing while we go into this next explanation in defense of Jaren. So you've got information and you offer it up to an audience and you get trolls and people saying you're an idiot because there's no cost to them to come to listen, to criticize, to see no value in what you have to offer. Then you go, well, sod that. I'm going to put this behind a paywall so that the information that I offer to people can only have value ascribed to it because it's now got $1 price tag on it. Yeah? Suddenly, your information has got an actual real world value. Rather than zero, it's got a dollar note value attached to it. Yeah? Well then, suddenly, like with a university education that costs money, people ascribe more worth to that's actually costs them money. So from a psychological point of view, if you want people to value your information, then putting a cost on the information isn't necessarily a bad way to go. Now, I haven't taken that approach. I don't pander to the people who say, it should all be free, you shouldn't be making money off the truth at all. Well, I like making money off my YouTube channel. I'm a YouTuber who talks about the truth and talks about measurements for free. But that's not for everyone. People have got different marketing strategies for their information. And in this particular arena, that's all we've got. All Jaren has to sell is his information and his time.
Well, considering his information, he's going to be in a poorhouse soon then, because he don't have any information. What information does he have? This moron is going to Antarctica. For what?
to affirm the consequent. BG says you will
Oh,
neck.
dear.
BG says you will not get one dime from me. Thank you for the 1999 super chat. Very funny. Okay, there's another video I'm going to recommend. Okay, so this was off the back of yesterday's show. Where is it? Is that it? No, that's not it. No, that's not it either. Oh, where's it gone? I thought I had it all queued up. Brian's Logic has released a video, and it's about... This is going to really bug me. I could have swore I had this queued up. Right, talk amongst yourselves for a minute. Brian has got a video that I do want to share, and I need to dig it out because I don't seem to have it to hand.
Yeah, I listened to it this morning. Very good. Go right back to the point.
Hello, William.
Okay, so this is a link to Brian's Logic's video, which is Will Duffy, Pitch Data, Final Experiment. That's the title of the video. Obviously, as always, please let Brian know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, and point him in the direction of the show that he's frequently on. Hopefully, Brian will put a link to my video if he ever makes anything in response to me, when he's not just talking to me directly. Anywho, this is literally as a direct response to what we were discussing yesterday about pitch data. So he's put it out in an official capacity, Brian, that is. However, there is a call to action at the end of his video. Now, he hasn't explicitly stated it as a call to action, but I'm going to repackage it as a call to action. Because Brian suggests that if the information's not forthcoming, and there's a whole bunch of trolls in the chat of Brian's video saying, it won't prove anything, it's not needed, it doesn't need to be presented. Anyway, Brian has suggested that there's going to be a whole bunch of flat earthers that are going to be very irritated if this data's not forthcoming. And I'm going to agree. But that is in essence a call to action. A preemptive call to action, depending on what is forthcoming after Brian's request, let's call it. Polite request. Far more polite than we had at the Isle of Man. I mean, we demanded all sorts of stuff. Called idiots and all sorts of names if we didn't provide it on the spot. Anyway, Brian's video is whizzing its way by in the live stream chat now, so go and check it out, give it a like, and if nothing else, amuse yourself with the high degree of triggeredness in the ball-believing section of Brian's comments, because it is hilarious. You know, endless paragraphs that explain why his call for information isn't needed, and so on and so forth. Very, very amusing. I must admit, I spent a good chunk of time in there today just chuckling to myself. And then after reading like 3 paragraphs, I go, God, this is tedious. Responding with a non sequitur just to keep myself amused. You know, it is like they used to do with us. I'm having fun. Right, so should I play a bit of Brian's video? There was some juicy bits in it.
I thought that's what you were going to do.
I'm going to play a bit of it, yeah.
Is get the pitch data, pay for the pitch data, right? And, you know, Wolfie will get it for you. He knows where it is. He can get it. It's just off the black box, whatever. All these things, whatever it is. All these things can be got. It just cost a bit of money. Money I didn't have. Wolfie wouldn't get it. None of these other people will get it. So maybe you will get it. Or you will get it. Because this is far greater than what you're trying to do. This will absolutely prove it. And the reason, because it can't be falsified. That's the problem. Whereas what you're doing, you know what I mean, is subjective. This is objective. Number 5, data cannot be falsified. So if the data that you're given, that you pay for, right, comes back and it's not what is experienced by commercial pilots or pilots in general, then it'll be obvious that that data is falsified. So if the pitch data is showing when it's read to be incorrect, then it'll be spotted immediately by every pilot. Every commercial pilot in the world is, you know what I mean, will be able to spot that's wrong. That's not the pitch data. That's not the pitch that we hold or the pitch changes that we make throughout a flight. Celestial observation. No need to have something that's subjective because people can't. Like, I mean, I know for definite that the celestials are a mystery to us. So whatever is happening in the celestials means nothing to me as far as the earth I live upon and I experience. So whatever is happening in the celestials means nothing to me. But if you show me pitch data that's verified, that can be verified by every commercial pilot and every airline company in the world to be correct and true, and that does show that pitch data matches the corrections that you would have to make to fly around the globe of radius 3,959 miles.
I think I've missed my mark by about a minute, but in a minute he's going to be doing the call to action I mentioned earlier, which is why I buzzed through to this particular section. I wanted him to explicitly outline what he's asking for, which he did at the first section. Now he's going to explain the call to action. I still want you to go and like this comment and subscribe to Brian and all that stuff as well. Just because I played this section to you doesn't mean you don't need to go and watch the whole video. It's a very good video.
Then I can't argue with that, can I? I can't argue. I can't talk about anything subjective at that point. It's purely objective. It is what it is. But the same for you. If it doesn't show that pilots are correcting for our curvature,
here we go,
then you have an objective truth. There's no way around it. You've got to accept it's flat. So, Pastor Duffy, this is what I'm requesting from you. And I have to say that if you do not go along with this plan, then not just me, but basically the whole of Flat Earth will have zero trust in you. Because this absolutely proves or disproves. Your plan does not. This proves or disproves. So if you decide to not go along with this, you decide to ignore it, or you decide to do whatever, right, that isn't this, right, then nobody will have any trust in you. Because that...
Okay, you've got the general gist. Divergent Droid stuck a link to the video in the info box, or in the live stream chat, I should say. So check it out. Go and let Brian know you've got his support and you've understood the concepts. You should understand it, as we discussed it at length yesterday. But Brian's laid it out in explicit terms and starts the video by addressing it specifically to Will Duffy, so that there's no ambiguity about what's being asked for, who's being asked for it, what's been requested and not forthcoming in the past, why this is an appropriate time to ask for it of Will Duffy. And yeah, Brian basically lays it all out in pretty much the same way he did yesterday, but like I say, directed at the individual rather than in a discussion with me. So yeah, hopefully people have got along.
Nathan?
Yes?
Just saying, like, well, I'm just thinking, you know, you know as well as I do that, and I'm sure these people that Brian mentioned this to, we all know what Brian's talking about, and we know it's true. But aren't these the same people that in the next breath will say, well, you know, the plane's not accounting for curvature because it's moving with the atmosphere and gravity's keeping it, you know, round the ball? Isn't that their rebuttals, not their rebuttals to this? And then we get into Coriolis and all that, obviously, but then I'm sure these people will just be saying the same thing.
Yeah. Any more remarks on pitch data with Brian's logic? Okie dokie. Well, we've only got 12 minutes left of the show, so I don't necessarily think I want to get into one of the other
Did
videos.
you say?
Go on.
Did you say Jaren's bitch data?
No, I said pitch data. Has anybody got any more comments on pitch data or Brian's logic? Like, what he's talking about currently, as in him and his ideas, because he's not here.
Maybe I said it.
Said what?
Jaren has bitch data.
I heard you the first time. I tried to brush past it subtly, but you obviously want to repeat it. Very good. Hello, Brian.
Hey, Nathan. Hey, everyone. I was going to join anyway, but I heard one deck saying there that what the ballers would say is that gravity takes care of it and it moves with the atmosphere and all this other rubbish. No, that's the thing about the pitch. It's connected directly to lift. And the pilot can't ever have the nose of the plane below horizontal. So it doesn't matter what claims they make about gravity or anything else. The plane must keep an above horizontal position. That position will change in accordance with the horizontal, depending on their airspeed. If they want, so if a plane's pilot wants to hold an altitude and they want to go faster, they will go from a, let's say, a +3 or +4 degree pitch above horizontal to a +2 degree pitch above horizontal. And if they want to go slower, they will go from a +3 or +4 degree pitch above horizontal to a +5 or +6 degree a pitch above horizontal. And holding, that's how they would hold the same altitude and go faster or slower. No matter what they do, when they're going from point A to point B, once they reach cruising altitude, they must keep the nose of that plane above horizontal, which means that's to generate adequate lift, which means that anything that anyone has to say after that means nothing, because you can't fly a horizontal straight line around the globe, and that's it. And that's what makes it so devastating. That's why when I brought up the lift effect to Wolfie, he already was trying to have nothing to do with me and go on with rubbish when I was talking about the pitch. But as soon as I brought up the lift effect, right, that was the end of it. That was the end of Wolfie. He had nothing more to do with me. He only wanted to troll me then. He didn't want to have any conversation about anything. He didn't want to, none. Because he knew then he was caught.
So, Brian, you said cruising altitude. So you think it's going to dawn on them that if they're flying to Antarctica and they're at a cruising altitude of, say, 30,000 feet, and they're going along 30,000 feet for, let's say, like 15, 20 miles, that Earth is flat? You think that'll dawn on them?
But see, the pitch data is about proving the situation. So something I have to say, Bev said, right, a couple of years ago, and he's correct. We're being given the impression that there's ridiculous amounts of anti-flat earthers. And there may have been a lot of them some years ago, but there isn't now. So it doesn't matter what these anti-flat earthers have an issue with, because they're in the absolute minority, actually. Kind of like us. We're growing and they're actually shrinking in numbers. But the thing about it is these people would still have to accept it, because if Qantas have to admit, yeah, that's the pitch data, end of. British Airways, yeah, that's the pitch data. American Airlines, yeah, that's the pitch data. Cathay Pacific, yeah, that's the pitch data. Lufthansa, yeah, that's the pitch data. KLM, yeah, that's the pitch data. Air France, yeah, that's the pitch data. You know what I mean? It goes on and on and on. It's like, that is the pitch data. It does not fit the globe. It only fits one thing, and that's that they're flying over a stationary plane. That's the end of that. There is no coming back from it. It's totally objective. And if Will Duffy does not go and get it and does not go down this road, then you can be sure he's not to be trusted. You can be sure he's not interested in actually proving something. He's interested in trying to give people like Craig and MC2 and all these people.
Before you jump the gun,
Exactly.
hold on. Before you jump the gun, no, when we were covering it, it happened to be in a bit. You were there on QE show yesterday, weren't you, Brian?
I was there, yeah.
Yeah, we covered a bit more, and there was a point where he specifically mentioned, whilst detailing it to the Tartaria guys, I've forgotten what they're called now. He was saying the logistics was an aspect of what they would be doing and what would be involved. Okay, well, he's disclaimed that now. So, it's not like you're asking for something that's outside the remit of what he's already suggested will be part and parcel of what he's doing. Now, he's not giving us independent and dependent variables, but he is telling us he's dealing with the logistics. So, okay, that's part of it then. Good.
And would pitch data come underneath logistics? Because pitch data would have to be taken from the black box.
Logistics is moving stuff from one place to another, Brian.
Yeah, I know that, but would pitch data come under that?
Will pitch data be involved in moving the cargo, from one place to another, if the other place is Antarctica and the starting point isn't. What do you think? Yes, it will.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm just wondering. But the thing about it is what I suggested was for him to not do that at all. To totally just forget about all that and go straight for the pitch data. That was my suggestion. Now, he probably won't do that. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know if he's seen the video because for some, here's something strange. 10 days ago, I brought out another video about the fraud that is these Antarctic 24-hour sun videos, right? And how so many of them can't be trusted because there's so many frauds out there. And they would, just a basic video on basically pointing out that there's none of these videos that can be trusted. And I gave it some reasons. And I got a load of comments, but a load of views and a load of likes, right? I got almost 60 likes. 56 likes or something like that on that video and almost 1,000 views. And like that's not big for a lot of people. But I have only 1,400 subscribers. So that's like you putting out a video and getting 20,000 views within 10 days, if you understand what I mean. So it's not bad. And a lot of my videos are going that way. I'm getting obviously a lot of trolls, but I'm getting a lot of likes and a lot of views. My past two videos, now maybe the last one, the one I just made prior to this, asking, the ballers is level 3-dimensional. Now, I actually thought that would get way, way, way more views and traction, considering what it is and how annoying it would be to the ballers. But it didn't. I went, okay. But this one, I would have thought, because my other Antarctica videos addressing this issue got loads of views. I have two others. Loads of views. This one, it's like there's hardly any likes on it. There is some likes, but not comparison to what I thought there would be. And views. It's like very strange. 10 days ago was the last time I attacked this Antarctica thing. And now my views and my likes have gone down to the bottom of the barrel. I've gone back. It's like I'm making a video back in 2019.
Okay, I don't follow your point.
The point being is that I find it very strange that my sudden view count and like count has gone down the drain in 10 days. Now, it's either flat earthers out there who are having an issue with me, which is possible, or it's something else, the YouTube issue.
Okay. I mean, if you say so, fine. I don't
Well,
want to
hang
get
on a
focused
minute.
on that.
Hang on now. Before you make me into some kind of conspiracy theorist, that's a real thing that actually happens. Like, I can't believe you tried to do that to me.
I haven't tried to do anything. I'm just saying
that's a real thing that's happening. YouTube are actively suppressing us.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing.
And I just found it a bit strange that 10 days ago I made a video. It's my second video attacking this Antarctica thing. And suddenly my next two videos, basically, it's like they bombed. They shouldn't have, considering the topics.
Interesting.
Yeah, because it's a very hot topic, Brian. I hear exactly what you're saying. Everybody's talking about it in the community, right? And now all of a sudden you got no likes and no views. Well, what's going on?
I think I saw that I had 20 likes or 21 likes after 10 hours. Now that would be way higher. That'd be double that. That should be double that.
Yeah,
and the views should be way more.
On.
Yeah, the views, I had 188 views or something like that. I should have way more views than that. If I go by my trend up to 10 days ago, the likes and the views were increasing all the time. Now I'm gone backwards, as if I only had 500 subscribers or something like that.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't make any money off YouTube. Do you know what I mean? So this is not something I'm watching because of some financial reason. I have no financial gain from YouTube.
Okay. Right, we are definitely going to cover the other video tomorrow, which is Whitsit and Eddie Bravo with Professor Dave. So we'll cover that tomorrow. Anything else while we're still live?
I didn't get an answer on the meteorite that hit New York.
That's the first I've heard of it, Neil. You said it didn't hit. Make up your mind.
Well, they said it burned up, but the debris went in past the Statue of Liberty into the ocean.
So there is debris then. So it did hit. It hit the Statue of Liberty then.
No, it went past it, like over the Statue of Liberty into the water. That's what they're saying.
I can't get a straight answer. Do we have debris that struck or not?
Yes, the water.
Does that mean no? It's claimed to have hit the water. We haven't got any.
I'm telling you what I read, that it burned up, but there was debris. It went past the Statue of Liberty into the water. I don't know if they retrieved any of it.
Okay. Well, I'll have to look into it, Neil. It's very interesting. Mighty Mush, you're off mute. Did you want to add something? Actually, I won't round out. I'm going to turn my lights back off and ask Mush to...
Yes.
You there, Mush?
Yeah, I'm here. How am I off mute?
I don't know, but you are. Anyway, I've got a question for you. It was good timing. Right. So Brian's take is to ask for the flight data, right? He wants pitch data for the journey. He wasn't here when you put your 2 pennyworth in earlier. Can you just reiterate your 2 pennyworth to Brian just to see what he's got to say about it?
Pretty much anyone who for 1 second thought that anyone's going down to Antarctica, joke is on them. As short as I can put it.
You catch that, Brian? Can you pop yourself on mute now? Mute, Mush.
I can't.
There we go. You have. Did you hear that?
Okay,
Brian?
got it.
I can't. Well, I don't understand why you're saying that to me.
He's saying they ain't going.
How does he know?
Well, that's not the point. The point is, it's just another take on it, right? I postulated this in QE Live yesterday when I said, oh, is it going to just be another Greater Sapien moment? It'll just fade into obscurity. Ha, ha, ha. Well, now Mush is saying the same thing. And I put it to him that there's a methodology psychos use, which is future faking. It has the same effect to tell you that you're going to do something in the future. The excitement and joy and elation you get off your victim is fulfilled in that moment when you tell them, oh yeah, we'll do that in the future. And then you just don't have to do it. You've already achieved your ends. And you'll get narcissistic supply when people moan that you haven't done it.
It's also called breadcrumbing in relationships. You tell someone you're going to do something, fulfill a need, and it never gets fulfilled.
Yeah,
Brian,
I understand that.
I'm asking Brian.
Yeah, I understand that. But there's a claim out there by a guy called Will Duffy, who supposedly has a lot of money. Sorry about the background noise. Who's claiming he wants to put money towards something that will prove or disprove whether the earth is flat or a globe. Now, I want what I put forward shared with him and shared as far and wide as possible and promoted as far and wide as possible. I want every flat earther to be asking Will Duffy to get the pitch data. He can do the Antarctica. He can claim he's doing the Antarctica thing if he wants, but the pitch data is what will prove or disprove it. Right? So then the whole plan changed. So I don't care whether he's going to Antarctica or not. There's a claim on the table that this guy wants to pay money and prove whether it's A or B, and there is the thing that will prove it. And if he tries to go against it, it just shows him up to be a fraud sooner than maybe he wants it to. That's the only outcome we get out of it.
Okay, so there's a link in the live stream chat right now to Brian's video. So click on it now, get a grasp of what Brian's putting down, hopefully comprehend it, and then yeah, if need be, when the time comes, the pressure can be ramped up. But you have to be aware of what Brian's asking. So yeah, go and check out his video.
Brian, let me ask you a question. I know you don't like the chat, but there's a moron in here that says even if you got the pitch data, you wouldn't be able to understand it.
Yeah, does this person think that I'm just going to try and read the pitch data? No, I have pilots and people who are airline captains ready to read it, and there's other people who need it. And Wolfie knew that. So, and yeah, how does he know I wouldn't be able to read the pitch data? Has he ever read the pitch data? Does he know my competency? I can't say the word
It's just
in
straight
reading
up ad
pitch
hom.
data. You know what I mean?
Just
Where's
roll
this
with it, roll
where's
into
this
it, right?
mystic
Maybe
like,
just roll into it. Nah, okay, maybe I wouldn't understand it at first. Maybe I'd have to figure out what I'm looking at. Like anything when you first look at it. So what? Straight up ad hom.
Yeah, but it's a hand wave. It's complete nonsense. I've come across it hundreds of times at this stage when I brought up the pitch data in the past. You wouldn't even know how to read it. Blah 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 blah. I don't have to know how to read it. Every pilot and every airline company in the world knows how to read it, which is part of what it's in my video. That's what makes it objective. It can't be falsified. Everyone can get it verified. Everyone. That's the thing about it. That's why I don't go into chat, because you have to deal with people like that.
Yeah, but there's also
He's a moron.
There's good fun going on in there too. There's a guy called Brett, and he says the ether is measured flat. he says you can't get an elevator angel from a flat baselines. The earth is flat. 100 people watching. Brilliant stuff. Please share the show if you haven't done so already. Smash that share button. It's only a couple of clicks. We're having fun. We might stay live a little bit longer. Now you're all in the mood.
Let's put the pressure on Pastor Duffy, Mr. Pastor. Let's put the pressure on him. He came out with Mr. being the big man with his big plan. Well, now here is a better plan. One that will absolutely achieve the aims he claims that he wants.
You know we need,
and he's willing to put money up into it. Go on.
We need. I can't believe we're going to say this. We need a sleeping warrior, right? He's got a particular skill set, and I think that in this circumstance, sleeping warrior would be encouraged because he's been on the receiving end of the proactive stance that Will Duffy's taking. What do I mean by that? Well, I referenced it earlier. When we were down at the Isle of Man, we were being made demands of left, right, and centre and deemed completely unreasonable if we didn't immediately take them seriously and offer up all and sundry in the kitchen sink at the behest of our opponents. So with that in mind, if Sleeping Warrior was here, which he's not at the moment, his particular skill set could be put to work in terms of the justification and poking the bear, basically, riling up the audience, which is what you're trying to do. Now, I'm not saying you're not good at that. Well, let's just say you're not good at that. Well, you could be better, and that is literally Sleeping Warrior's skill set, isn't it? I'm smiling because I can just picture I can imagine the kind of things that he would do with this, because there's a lot of fun to be had here, right? We were dreading the endeavours that we took part in proactively at the Isle of Man because of what we will now have a lot of fun with, right? The demands that can be placed on the proactive attempt to prove this or that. All right, you're going out of your way to do work. Well, let's start ramping up that workload. Justifiably so, lest you be a scumbag liar. So, yeah, it's just, do you not see what I mean about this being right up Sleeping Warrior's alley?
Yeah, I would be totally fine with Anthony taking this and running with it because, and everyone, but I know Anthony would be good at it because he's good at getting the point to where it needs to be. I don't know how to describe it. It's just that Will Duffy could decide to ignore my video or claim he never saw it. That's why I'm looking for everyone to try their best to share it with him. Oh, actually, Nathan, you've been in contact with him. You had some conversation with him.
No.
Somewhere.
No, he left a comment on one of my videos and I asked him for his independent and dependent variable for the hypothesis for his claimed experiment. And then what I got in return was a bunch of trolls attempting to do it for him.
Right, and he has a channel then?
Yeah.
Right. Could you send me, or put the link for his channel underneath my video or something, and I'll send my video to him or something. Because I didn't know what the story was with the guy. He's a bit of a. I just thought he was a bit of an anomaly. I just want him to see the video and have to address it.
Will it take?
That's all that needs to happen.
Will it take longer than 15 minutes?
Or will what take longer?
I'm just trying to price up how much I'm going to charge you. $3.
Yeah, okay. $2.50, and we'll do it.
I'm sure
Yeah.
one of the moderators is on the case as we speak. I have good people who will undoubtedly hear that and go, "Oh, I can go into the guy's link. Maybe I'll get it in on the live show."
Yeah, I'm useless at stuff like that. Absolutely useless at finding someone's channel or whatever. Useless. I just go, that person can't be found.
It's nigh on impossible.
Walk away without even trying.
Right, number one, if you're a flat earther and you've got a channel, then there's a good chance that typing anything that's directly connected or the exact title won't get you to their channel or video, right? We know that. We're suppressed. So when just recently a couple of people have kind of touched to say that they want unbanning because they've been unjustly banned. And I'm like, what do you think I'm going to do? Type your name into Google and just have your channel name appear? Number one, there's probably 20 channels with the exact same name as original as you think you are. Number two, if I did manage to pick out which one it was, I've then got to go figure my way to the homepage, figure my way to the flag, and then unban the channel, unhide the channel. But I've got to be in their channel to do that. And if they just say, "Can you unban me?" You're like, no, that would require an hour's worth of attempted research to try and track you down. Like, if you actually do want to be unbanned, like, email me and give me your channel link, like the link to your homepage, especially if you haven't got any videos. I mean, obviously, if you've got a video, I can just find my way to your homepage from that. But, you know, people are saying, "Can you unban me?" It's like, well, no, probably not, unless you've emailed me with a link to your homepage. I just, you know, it sometimes literally isn't possible to find them. I'm sure Will Duffy's different. He's got videos, so that's different.
But can you not do that in YouTube Studio?
Do what?
Just unban people that are banned.
No! I was explaining this
I
to
didn't know
QE the
that.
other day. No, in YouTube Studio, the system's completely changed. It's all connected back. It's back engineered like, what was it? Hangouts was connected to, I've forgotten the name of the Discord equivalent that was the back programming bit for all of YouTube and Google Plus and Hangouts on Air, and it was all interconnected by this back office. I can't remember what it's called because we used to surreptitiously refer to it as the back office, so people didn't figure out what we were doing, because people would figure out how to get into the back office and could kick me out of my own show when I was using Hangouts on Air. Do you remember? Were you around then?
I do remember that. I do remember that happening on the show. I do. Yeah.
Well, that has become the overriding system that is used for YouTube comments and banning people, basically. Now, the net result of that is if you want to unban somebody, you can't just go to your YouTube Studio, community settings, community, and then go to the list of people that are banned. That will give you a list of people that were banned 6 years ago, but it won't. It certainly won't give you a list of the person that was banned 10 minutes ago in the live chat, accidentally. If that happens, you've got to find that person's homepage, go to the little flag, and unhide channel. That's how you have to do it. Which means that there is no blanket way to just unban people. You have to do it by individual. Man, this is boring. 102 people listening to us describe YouTube admin. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's my fault. It's my fault entirely.
Yeah. Yeah, well, look, back on track. I might even make a short video. I put it towards Duffy because he can't then say a short video is a minute, so you can't tell me that you couldn't give it a minute. You know, I just want as many people as possible to share this with him and to promote the idea, right? Promote the idea that we want to pitch data, and that's what will prove or disprove it. And he can pay for that. And it's, you know, nobody needs to go to Antarctica then. Nobody needs to fall down a glacier or whatever. There's no need for any of that. Nobody needs to take time off work.
No. You don't want to be that guy. Don't tell them what they don't need to do. I've just spent like 20 minutes apologising for skirting it with Level Earth Observer. It's like, you should be doing it this way. Oh, God, I can't believe I'm having to say it. It's like, do whatever you feel best. If you feel that it's unjust being called a grifter and it's projection, say it. But then I have to disagree, and I can only compare it to what he's just said. But, you know, just draw the line, don't you? You have to draw the line somewhere. In this instance, we want people to see this video, Brian's video, so you know what's coming, so you know what legally speak potentially Sleeping Warrior will put out if he's brought on board and likes the idea of this poking. I reckon he will. What do you think?
He might do. He might do.
I'm trying to send him a message.
Just on the video, I make a list of stuff. I do list things that are reasons where it makes far more sense to do what I'm saying than to do what he's about to do. And I do give reasons like nobody needs to take time off work, no one's likely to get injured because nobody has to go anywhere. You know, I give all the reasons that make it a much more solid plan.
AQE.
So AQE.
Oh. Hello. Yeah, I got all that. I'm just saying, it's like you can put your point in terms of what you want when he does what he's saying he'll do without saying, well, you don't even have to do what you're saying you're going to do. It's like when the gardener comes and he's like, well, I'm just going to trim this tree back and I'm going to edge the lawn. And you're like, well, I'm going to bring in a tarmacker. You're like, well, that means I'm surplus to requirements. You're telling me you don't want me to do what I do because you want me to do something that isn't the thing I'm doing. Like, if it's in conjunction with what he's doing, he might, might be a bit more receptive than you saying, your whole idea of going to Antarctica. Well, sod all of that. just get me the pitch data for any flight.
No, see, this is the problem. This is the problem with that.
I'll say to Brian, don't tell him not to go to Antarctica. Think of all the wonderful curvature that they would have to negotiate going to Antarctica. Think of the amount of rotation that they would have to negotiate on their way to Antarctica. Why would you ever tell them not to go to Antarctica? Please fly to Antarctica and get that bit there.
As they're flying,
I have a reason.
As they're flying level altitude, 30,000 feet, hundreds of miles.
Yeah, I have a reason. I have a reason. Listen to me. You need to think these things out a bit, right? They could come up with any nonsense data and throw it at us if they see a 24-hour Antarctic sun. Because no matter what nonsense they throw at us, right, it might not be pitch data at all or made up pitch data. It doesn't matter. The public won't get to hear about it because it'll be drowned out by their 24-hour Antarctic sun, and flat earthers are drowned out and seen as being fools. So I don't want them to try and do that with some ad hoc flight from wherever to Antarctica, from Chile to Antarctica or whatever it is. I don't want them to do that. I don't want them to be able to do that because that's what they'll do. They're frauds and they will throw nonsense at us. It doesn't mean anything. There won't be pitch data. And when we try publicly to state...
Sorry. I just wanted to say that since the 60s, since they've put, a research station in Antarctica, quote unquote, with all the scientists, quote unquote, out there doing research, they don't have any authentic videos of a 24-hour sun. So we've never seen it. Just to put that out there.
Yeah, I understand that. But what I don't want to have happen is for them to go to Antarctica, right, see a 24-hour sun, and then throw any old data at us that when we cry out that this data is not the real data, nobody gets to hear it because we're completely drowned out by their 24-hour sun. So I don't want that happening. I want the pitch data to be from official sources, and I want them to completely avoid the 24-hour sun thing because it doesn't prove or disprove anything. And I want them to go with the pitch data. Whereas if I just ask them for the pitch data for the pitch data for the flight to Antarctica. He can say, well, all my money's going into Antarctica, so I can't pay for the pitch data. Or he can say, okay, I'll get you some pitch data, and he just throws any old rubbish at me when he's showing the whole world a 24-hour Antarctic sun. Do you know what I mean? And me or anyone else complaining that that's not the correct pitch data, no one's going to hear it. No one's going to care, because as far as the whole world is going to be told, then the globe is proven. That's what they're going to be told. And I don't want that. What I want him to do is either go along with the plan I have put forward, which will prove the Earth to be flat, or to avoid it, which will prove him to be fraudulent. And then his whole plan falls apart. So it's a trap either way. But he's claiming that he wants to put money forth and prove or disprove this situation, this pastor Duffy. So we'll see. This is what I'm wanting to do. Okay, you're saying this, then here you go. Here is the real plan. If you say you're really interested, what's he going to do? The best he'll do to avoid it is to not do the Antarctica thing, not do what I'm suggesting, and try and come up with some other nonsense. And then nothing ever happens. That's what is likely to happen. But the point is that if he doesn't do the pitch data thing, that means that he's doing his best to make sure that he doesn't prove it flat out. If it's a globe, the pitch data will show
I
it.
understand your point.
Yeah.
Yeah, chocolate.
No, I'm just saying, I do understand your point.
You can give no trust to these people. That's my fear of it. You know, that's why I didn't bring what he's doing in Antarctica into it, or trying to say the plane. Now, you know, we could add that in if he decides to do the Antarctica thing, but it's not going to mean anything if he sees a 24-hour sun. No one's going to pay attention to pitch data. No one's going to want to hear about it for 10 or 15 years. That's the problem.
Well, that will be we'll lean on it. You know, if they're suggesting that their antipodal assumption is validated by the 24-hour sun, then we'll say, well, we need to confirm the antipodal assumption, don't we? We need that pitch data, Brian, to confirm the antipodal assumption.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to come up with the pitch data then. He'd say, well, all my money's been already spent on to this Antarctica thing. I don't have the money to pay for the pitch data. Because that's what he's going to come up with. All pitch data costs a lot of money.
Okay, well then then he's just affirmed the consequent and begged the question. So you couldn't afford to do anything other than assume the thing you're trying to prove. So you had to assume that you arrived on the bottom of a ball. Okay. Well, what we will require is proof that you arrived on the bottom of a ball. Because showing a 24-hour sun doesn't prove you're on the bottom of a ball. It proves there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Now, if you can confirm that you did arrive on the bottom of a ball, we will require validation of that by way of the pitch data.
Yeah, listen. If all comes to all, that's what I'll be asking. But I would prefer that he was put under pressure to go along with the pitch data plan and completely ignore the Antarctica plan. Because that will prove or disprove. There won't be any nonsense in Antarctica then. That's all I'm saying. Now, I understand your point, and I understand chocolate, and what Eli's saying I take on board. I don't think they're going to see a 24-hour sun, because there's never been any evidence shown of it. But I have to leave that little bit of doubt in where there might be. And I have to be able to go, right, what's going to happen if they see a 24-hour sun? They're going to be jumping with joy and telling the whole world the globe's proven. And whatever data they throw at us, even if it's the real data, right? What will that become? An afterthought somewhere. Well, you know what was interesting about that thing? That the pitch data didn't fit a globe Earth. You know, 5 years later, on some random YouTube show. You know, when they're talking about that situation.
I'm going to read out some of these super chats. Sorry to cut you off. Shout out to Phoenix Rising. Says, Jaron has started charging for services because his channel is in decline, and I watched him talk about it on a live stream. He almost had to get a real job. His channel will implode. Oh, that's sad. Thank you for the super chat. So far, is the pitch data and telemetry data the same thing?
I don't know, pitch data. I don't know about telemetry data, but pitch data is the data that comes from the attitude indicator.
Shout out to the Flat Out Truth. It says, great shows. I just crushed the Narnia fantasy for 3 globies on 3 different posts at the same time, showing the Earth measuring flat data. Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you for the super chat.
I actually don't know what telemetry data is, to be quite honest with you. But if it's not pitch data, not specifically pitch data, I'll have nothing to do with it. Because I don't want bowlers being able to move to some other nonsense data that has nothing to do with the pitch. The pitch is what proves or disproves it.
Did you know Jaren's
And
channel...
I know what the pitch is going to show. Go on.
Sorry, I'm sidetracked by that first super chat. With the same sentiment as earlier, right? When I'm like, if Jaren can succeed charging for his time, then hopefully one day maybe I can too. But if it's done out of necessity because his channel's in serious decline, then I see that as a bad thing. That is to say, I constantly have to monitor my stats to fight against the suppression and reactively do things if it ever goes into decline. That is to say, I go, oh no, I've got slightly less views, or my view time to watch ratio slightly lower this month, or the money's slightly lower than this month. I need to do something because I'm that close to the poverty line. If I don't keep a close eye on it, I just won't be making shows next month. So I'll keep a literal daily eye on it, more than a daily eye on it, if I'm honest. But anyway, the point is, if Jaren hasn't been keeping an eye on his stats and his channel's slipped into decline that he can't come back from, I put it to the audience that in this circumstance, there is a loyal audience base that's still out there. And that loyal audience base would praise Jaren if he was pointing out, as we are, the affirming the consequent fallacy that's used when you assume antipodal positioning, for example. In other words, if from this point forth, Jaren was to start taking the mickey out of them because he understands the fallacy that's being formulated to make this journey, to make a claim that requires an assumption that you're antipodal when you arrive in Antarctica, I bet he would immediately go on the upwards in statistics. Would you not agree? Started taking the mickey out of Will Duffy.
Are you talking to us?
I'm asking you if...
I agree.
in the same vein, right?
Jaren to disappear completely.
Say again?
Yeah, so I'm the wrong person. I want the man to completely disappear and go into and fall into oblivion. He's not our friend. He's not on our side.
Yeah, but I'm saying, if he was singing from the same hymn sheet, he would be on our side, wouldn't he? That's why all this time, when I say, okay, I've got in touch with Jaren and I've explained the affirming the consequent fallacy to great extent with examples and got a confirmation that he understands. You're like, okay, so does he understand? Does he understand that it's actually the fallacy that's being used in Antarctica? Yeah, because that's the next step. He understands the fallacy now. Has he actually linked it to the claim of this experiment? Because that could be detrimental. What I'm saying, before it happens, when there's plenty of time on his side, and it's claimed, I don't know that this is true, this is what Phoenix Rising 86 has said, that his channel's in decline. Well, that would turn around in an instant. In the way I'm trying to gain promotion for my own channel when I ask people to go to their channel. Well, when I'm promoting the idea that we shouldn't be crabs in a bucket, seeing somebody who has been massively influential over a lot of people who are presumably with a heavy heart, and I've seen these comments go past in the chat today as well. I hadn't got them on screen, but people saying they're unsubscribing from Jaren. They go, okay, this guy has had a huge influence on all of us. You want him to disappear into the oblivion of the ether that he's promoting. I would rather he was a good ambassador for Flat Earth. There's no reason why in this circumstance he can't immediately turn it around in the way that Globebusters, Jaren himself failed to with Netflix. Now, does that mean he might have to swallow a bit of pride and acknowledge the fact that this fallacy's been, put to him by us? Maybe. It's not that I'm trying to gain some kudos or, props from Jaren. I don't need a pat on the back, but I'd rather he didn't do a bad job.
I'm sorry, you're being completely unrealistic. If he did that, it would be to gain back subscribers and to gain back whatever. It would only be to gain that back. First chance you get to be back to promoting Ether and calling you a scammer. I like when it's in a position of power, What was he doing? He was ignoring us, calling you a scammer, and basically doing his best. He didn't care about you and your breadline. That guy has been a fraud from day one. And his channel does need to go into oblivion. It means I don't care about his channel. He's not a flat earther. He means absolutely nothing to me. He is not helping this situation at all. He's hindering it. And he has probably the biggest voice, or one of the absolute biggest voices in it. And his other friends who have the other big voices are hindering it as well, like True Earth Dave and Witsit Ether Boy, you know what I mean? Pumping out rubbish. They all need to go, all of them. There is no if, buts, or maybes. There's no nice guy attitude. There's no, well, maybe if he does this, that, or the other thing, first chance he gets, he's going to stick a knife in your back again. I'm honest now. You're not. Sorry, that's my attitude on it, about it. You may not want it on your show, but that's the way it is.
No, I value all of these opinions. I don't necessarily agree with everything, but it's not that I don't want it aired. Sometimes when I vehemently disagree with things, I want to be vehemently disagreeing with it. In other words, I couldn't be doing that unless it was aired. So, no, yeah, I totally value your opinion. You would rather they just didn't exist because they're punting ether, and you see Jaren as being a fraud from day one. I don't view it that way.
I want to add that. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, just real quick. I just want to add, listening to all this, it's a little weird to me because I want to have empathy for Jaren, right? I don't want to see anybody's channel just dwindle into nothing. That's what's happened, right? But sometimes it's a little rough to hear that, I have to have empathy for somebody or to try to convince myself to do that when I've literally been called a scammer by this very person because I simply say things like, I don't know, science proves things. And now, funny enough, now you're in the middle of a fiasco that calls itself the final experiment. It's kind of ironic to me, I guess, in some ways. I don't know. I don't know. It's rough for me to have empathy for him, but at the same time, I'm a human and I don't have anything personal towards him except for that. You know what I mean?
Mark Sargent, like all of the flat earthers already did the one final experiment with Nat Geo. It's not an experiment. But the claim is that the horizon is the curve of the earth that boats go over. And so they tried to prove that claim true by observing the horizon at 1.2 miles with a boat with a flag beyond it. Now, in that entire video, the boat is out at 3 miles. The horizon is said to be at 1.2 miles because the cameraman was 1 foot off the ground, and the formula is 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. That gives you the distance to the horizon. So when you're watching the video, you can clearly see that the boat is at 3 miles, and the horizon, well, there is no point where the sky meets the ground in that sense, because you have what we call local horizons, aka mountains and things like that, will actually block, hinder you from seeing the horizon. That's why they say go to a beach. So the bottom line is there was no horizon at 1.2 miles like they claim and like they say. They already did that. Why not just go with that?
You mean the National Geographic Black Swan that we were exposing 4 years ago?
Mm-hmm. The same people are still trying to prove it for like once and for all. You've already done it.
Well, I was thinking about that myself. Not that, but this similar concept. I have 2 different videos of the full moon in the daytime. That's an impossibility within the heliocentric paradigm. Their own paradigm makes that an impossibility. Impossibility. How they describe moon phases, how they have to happen, means that cannot happen. So there is an astrological observation that's already happened. I have two of them, 2 videos of the same thing from 2 different times. of last year. So there's two observations, of the celestials disproving their claim. How come none of them are jumping on that? How come none of them are going, that disproves the globe? They all completely ignored it. Why don't we promote that? It's not about me, but promote that. Full moon in the daytime. Because they have all this rubbish about going to Antarctica to get a video. We already have videos that disproves their claims.
I have a similar, I also use their claim about the moon and the position of the sky. And mine concerns observations about like the moon and the waxing gibbous phase, but that's for another conversation, I guess. Because I don't have any diagrams. We're not about to go into it right now with me explaining and what are you talking about? No.
I think Adam hit on that years ago as well, Eli. The waxing gibbous phase. Adam hit on that too. She talked to him about that as well. Yeah. But my point being is that they want to go to Antarctica to affirm a bias, right? Because that's all it's going to be. Because if they do see a 24-hour sun, it's not going to change the Earth being a flat plane, but they're going to want to claim it's proven a globe. Whereas the full moon in the daytime does completely prove all of their paradigm, or disprove, all of their paradigm. We have 2 videos of that. I mean, what more? I mean, like, my point being is that they're harping on about this observation that hasn't even happened yet. And I have there's very slim chances of it actually happening. And if it does happen, they want to then say that that's some kind of solid globe proof, and it doesn't prove either way. But the full moon in the daytime, the 2 videos of the full moon in the daytime, completely disproves their paradigm completely. So, I mean, why don't we just hit them back with that as well? And tell them to get pitch data and forget their Antarctica thing, if they really want to prove or disprove. See, this is the thing. If they can hand wave something away, they will. None of them addressed the full moon in the daytime. A few of them tried to, but it was ridiculous.
Maybe it's a slight lack of conviction is maybe sort of the problem, right? Because if this is something that's worrying you as a flat earther who's been a flat earther for I don't know how many years, then maybe you slightly lack the conviction in your stance. You know what I mean? And maybe that's something that's being heard by the audience, and maybe that's why the audience is kind of dwindling away. I mean, I could be off base here, but I don't know. It just sounds, because I hear this 24-hour sun thing, and I'm not losing a minute of sleep, a second of sleep. Like, what do you mean? Okay, so this.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
From Steve Windorf at Hypothetical Genius. It's not directed at you, but I'm going to direct it at you, Brian. What knowledge does Brian have that would allow him to analyze the incredibly complex data that he would need? ?
For a start, how does he know how complex it is? Number one. Number two, it means he didn't watch the video. I said, you can get this verified with any commercial pilot or any airline in the world, or any pilot in the world. It doesn't have to be commercial, as long as they can just read the data and understand the data. The data is just pitch data. It's not like the data, it's just pitch data. And if it is difficult to read, right, it's only difficult to read to the uneducated. All the educated can read it. So I don't have to be able to read it. You know what I mean? Like, this is what it's like. He won't even be able to read that data, right? No, that's a cop out. That's a red herring away from, is Will Duffy going to get the data? Because Brian won't be able to read that data. What's that got to do with anything? Whether I can read the data or not? It's what the data proves when the people who can read it read it. It doesn't matter if I'm some Dumbo who lives in a trash can. It doesn't mean anything.
No, absolutely not. Like, if that's verifiable data, why are they shying away from it? Surely this data will verify their position. Surely they'd be keen to get this data. Does this all sound familiar from about 7 years ago, Brian? You getting the
Yeah.
gist? I'm trying to egg Sleeping Warrior into the discussion. I mean, it must confirm your position, right? Ball believers? We're going to need that data. Don't worry about whether or not we can analyze it. You can explain how it proves a sphere, can't you? Yeah, chop chop.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, right? Like, why ask if Brian could? One of you wonderful globe believers can definitely come in here and explain it all to us, right?
They're scared
That
of it,
shouldn't be a
Chocolate.
problem.
No, they're scared of the pitch data. And therefore they're worried about whether or not Brian can analyze it. Surely you'd want to push this forward. You'd want to dissect it. You'd want to show how globy it is. They don't want to because they know it's flat. That's why they don't want to give it you. That's why they say it won't prove anything. Won't prove anything. You'd think the rhetoric would be, this definitely proves a globe, because everything should prove a globe if you're on a globe. It doesn't, and they're all shying away from it immediately, Brian. How very telling. They're all scared of it. Sound familiar, lads? How the times have changed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Says
This
they're
is
ready
what
to
I
Did
go.
I just hear that they're claiming it wouldn't prove anything?
Yeah, that's
No,
you go read Brian's
they're-
comments.
Ouch.
Yeah, some of the bigger names like Bell and various others. You know, people that you'd be familiar with that do make videos saying doesn't prove anything. Like, oh really? You're that scared of it? You're that scared of it? Where's Wally? You're that scared of it, Prof. Phil Bell? Doesn't prove anything. Well, it wouldn't be useful then. Why would they be using it? You'd think you'd want to be telling us all about how it proves a globe, but instead they're just telling us how scared they are of this data that Brian's requested. I mean, it's a simple enough request. Why would you be so scared of it?
Because it has to prove one thing or the other. This is the point. So that's why I found that interesting. That is a proper, I don't want anything to do with this, because it will prove one thing one way or another. Has to, because it's the pitch data. So it's interesting that they're hand waving it away and don't want to deal with it, which is, they probably know
That's what
what
I dealt with all of them. Wolfie is out here 8 years now, since 2016. And for 8 years, he's avoided getting that pitch data. That's all he would have had to do. He could have done a GoFundMe. And loads of people would have joined in, flat and globe, for the data. He could have done that, and he didn't in 8 years.
While
Why
we're
did
on
he
that,
not?
Brian,
Sorry.
and any chance, Nathan, I could just shout out my Give, Send, Go. $31,000 is needed. And what we're going to do when we see the 24-hour Antarctic sun, we're going to be able to prove with our experiment that there are actually two dual Chinook orbiting suns. And then the Church of the Dual Suns will rise.
Yes, we have simply formulated.
Give, Send, Go, 31,000. I don't think it's out the limits of the listeners. Come on, guys, get me to Antarctica.
I mean, this is sarcastic, and if it was real, I would be disgusted. Given
That's
how poor I
twice
am.
you've shot me down now.
So don't forget a little bit of spare change to bring some food for the penguins, because we got to save the penguins.
I'm taking them a bag of crisps.
Right. Okay. Jolly good. Smash the
It's
super chat to
scared.
support this channel while others discuss a £31,000 trip to validate the affirming the consequent fallacy that is Chinook orbital motion. That is two separate suns orbiting in the same way as the dual rotors of a Chinook helicopter rotate. And this will absolutely be validated on a flat plane with dual suns. If Earth is a flat plane with dual suns, then we will observe 24-hour sun in Antarctica. And if we do observe 24-hour sun in Antarctica, it's definitely proving Chinook helicopter motion of a suns, over a flat plane. I mean, there's lots of them. There's the caustic coffee cup explanation. If Earth flat plane, then we will have caustic cup sun for 24 hours in Antarctica. We do have caustic cup coffee cup suns or sun above the horizon in Antarctica. Therefore, Earth's a flat plane with incoherent dielectric accelerative motion. I mean, we could do this all day, affirming the consequent with something that's not connected to the actual statement that's being made by begging the question in the case of a globe. If I assume antipodal positioning, Then when I arrive on the bottom of a globe I've already assumed is the case, I'll see 24-hour sun. Oh, I do see 24-hour sun, therefore it's definitely my presupposition of a antipodal positioning system that I assumed before I even left my original location. Yeah, it's just begging the question, isn't it? Just assuming the thing you're trying to prove. And then slapping on some nonsensical observation after your assumption, otherwise known as affirming the consequent fallacy. That's all this is. And they're scared of the pitch data. So they want to affirm the consequent and use the fallacy, but they're scared of the pitch data, say it proves nothing. Scared.
Adam, other than them saying it proves nothing, all I've gotten, and I know because I brought up this topic ages back. I don't know how long ago I brought up the whole pitch data thing, probably a few years ago. But the other one I always get, and we got it a minute ago in the chat, was how would Brian even know how to read? Brian wouldn't be able to read this completely. It's very complex data. Now, that would mean that these people have already read the data, which, you know what I mean, to know how complex it is. But it doesn't matter whether I can read it or not, does it? Who cares whether I can read it? The whole point of it is it can be read.
If for some reason you were unable to comprehend a load of numbers which are above and below,
hold on, don't jump the gun. Let me just validate that. Hold on. Just let me just validate that. You can't just jump to those sorts of assumptions. Brian, can you read?
Yes.
Do you know what the numbers 1 through 10 and 0 are? Oh, this is dodgy ground. You may not know what the numbers. Let's just try all of. Do you know what a number 1 is?
I do.
What about a number 2?
Yes.
Are you familiar with a number 3?
I am.
What about a number 4?
Yes.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say he does have the capability of reading these numbers. I mean, I'm just going out on a limb.
News. So all we've got to do now is realise that the numbers that we're given will be in respect to the aeroplane's position to a flat plane, and we should then be able to interpret them. But if not, what we could do is ring a really clever baller, and they could tell us how it proves that we're going over a flat plane and doesn't demonstrate any dealing with curvature, couldn't they?
What,
if we were too thick to figure it out.
You mean tally the numbers to the pitch data with respect to the flight level parallel with surface level? That data. Someone could explain it to us from the ball side, could they?
It in of itself is a flat Earth proof, Nathan. So the pitch data, whatever number the list shows, or different numbers, each one of those numbers is in with respect to a flat plane. Do you understand? It's how much it's angled away from the flat plane. That's what the number means.
0. 0 degrees, that's the whole point. 0 degrees is horizontal. 0 degrees is level. Level is horizontal. That's the whole point. What are they going to show me? Show us. How many degrees the plane's nose is above or below horizontal?
Yes. How high or low the nose of the plane is with respect to a flat Earth. That's what the data ipso facto is. What's that? It's not relevant, won't prove anything. Yeah, you're all terrified of this, aren't you? It's immediately obvious. I had a good chuckle in Brian's comments. Yeah? I mean, I didn't even respond to some of them. I just threw in a non sequitur because that's what we used to get. So Phil Bell bleating about this got water vapour isn't a gas, end quote, Phil Bell. Complete non sequitur with me and a laughing face because of the terrified spew that has resulted in Brian's simple request for data that will be needed to travel to this location. That is a fact. And you're all terrified it on the ball side because you know it proves a flat Earth. We know it proves a flat Earth. Adam's just explained it really concisely. Pitch data is the angle of the nose with respect to a flat plane. That's what it is. That was an excellent summary, by the way, Adam.
I have got pitch data, but nobody will accept it, will they, Bri? But we've got it, you see. I've been there. I've done it on the plane, on the flight. Yeah. But it isn't worth the video it's recorded on. because no one will believe it. But that's what that pitch data is going to show. That's what all the manuals describe, how aeroplanes work and what to expect. It's just when you've actually got that and you show that there's no reorientation for the changing of down, it is an absolute ball destroyer.
Yeah, well, we're
And
going
that's
to
why I
need
find
that.
it interesting. They want to mitigate away from it as if that data won't show anything.
They're
It
doing the
has to.
journey, and they want to discount the journey in favour of an antipodal assumption. What an outrage. No, we're definitely going to need to confirm this antipodal positioning that you're assuming when you get down there. And nothing else will matter. You know, that's the main point of the argument, isn't it?
Exactly. You see, this is the thing, and Adam is aware of this, and I'm sure other people here are aware of this. And Wolfie is very aware of it. That this data can't be falsified in any way. Because anyone who attempts to falsify it will be shown to have falsified it by every commercial pilot in the world, by every airline in the world, every pilot anywhere. You don't have to be a commercial pilot, private pilot, it doesn't matter. If you fly a Cessna, it makes a single prop Cessna makes no difference. You know how that plane has to fly. Doesn't matter how big or small the plane is. To go from A to B, it has to do the same thing, right? There might be extra factors, but the thing you're doing is exactly the same. But there's a bigger problem, and this is why Wolfie never wanted to touch it. But especially when he started coming into my channel on a second channel and stopped coming in on his main channel. Onto my channel, and eventually I had to just ban him that channel. The reason is that the reason that the plane has to do that is because of the lift effect. And this is the thing: they can't falsify it, because anyone that tries to give us false data, as soon as they start showing a consistent pitch below a starting horizontal, it's over, right? Because no pilot in the world will go along with that as a truth. Number one, and number two is that is a violation of the lift effect. So violating the lift effect is like trying to violate entropy. It can't be done. It only works one way. Air doesn't decide to not go out past a claim Kármán line, to a massive area of zero resistance. It doesn't do that. Air pressure doesn't decide to do that. No, and lift doesn't work with a below horizontal pitch. You're going to hit the ground. End of story.
It does if it's rebellious.
Rebellious pitch data.
Oh man. To what Nathan was saying before, about their assumptions. People some people just like their assumptions, man. Remember like Platypus yesterday. He was a globe earth knower with all his assumptions. And then when asked how did you measure the globe? What is globe measurement? What is that about? I don't know. It's much easier with assumptions.
And that's all the Antarctica thing is, isn't it? A load of assumptions that will confirm a bias that doesn't prove anything.
Hey Nathan, could you throw that air screen up?
Any more on this? Have we all took it ourselves out on this?
Hello.
Yes. What are you presenting?
Throw my share screen up.
I see it.
Throw that up on your video.
I don't have control of your sound.
You don't need sound.
Okay. We'll just sit in silence for a bit then.
Hey, ballers!
Okay, I don't know what's going on, QE.
Out the bottles.
I think Kiwi's going to go through the presentation.
No, I wasn't. No, I just wanted to take a look.
It's very much an audio-based show, though. Please read it.
No, I thought you were still alive.
I am.
Doesn't need audio. It's, oh my God.
Some people say QE's awkward. They're wrong.
Nathan,
That's me.
did Brian say he was questioning what telemetry was?
No, it's a question from the super chat. Someone said, is telemetry the same as pitch data?
Yeah, I mean, we have it on our drones, telemetry. It's a black box system, which is just an SD card fitted into the flight controller. And you can log any of the parameters that are monitored. And the new sort of setup, we can watch them live on a two-way feed back to your transmitter. So you can watch your amperage draw or pitch, roll, or yaw axis. So telemetry is basically any sensor you've got on your flight, whether it be a drone or a plane. And pitch is one of those sensors that is recorded. There is a way of overlaying it onto your flight footage in a graphical way.
Yeah, Brian, what I'm looking for, sorry, go on.
Go on.
Yeah, it's specifically the pitch data I'm looking for. And I don't want the ballers to be able to mess around with that by adding in data from anything else. So it's the pitch data specifically. So is it possible, let's say in your situation, is it possible then that I hear you say that you could just show just the pitch data of your drone?
You could only record the pitch data, yeah. I mean, there's dozens of sensors on a modern day drone that you can record. Even the PID settings, which is like the tuning of the motors with the dampening of the acceleration and that. The volts of the battery.
I got you. Just,
the
before you get into the
amperage.
technical details of drones, sorry, Brian, to cut you off. I think one of the things in Brian's video that he's specifically suggesting that is the reason for this more official data is that there's no ambiguity. If there's any fudging, then there's going to be a whole pile of other pilots that go, that isn't the data. That's not right. Now, that's kind of, it's caveated by Brian in his video and with good reason. So I don't think I'm speaking for you now, Brian. I'm sorry. Brian, G plus Brian. He's not trying to decry what you're suggesting, and it sounds great. You know, the fact that you can get this data and it works and it functions is because, like Adam said, the drone is referencing itself to the horizontal, and the pitch data is the same as the commercial flights. The nose with respect to the plane that it's flying over, the flat plane of reference that it needs to describe how high or low it is as an angle. So it's not that it's not useful, it's just in this particular instance, there's an opportunity to put a bit of pressure on our opponents in a request for more official data. Not only that, Brian's been chasing Wolfie for about 7 or 8 years for this data because he knows where that road ends, right, Brian? I'm just passing over to our Brian from Discord.
It's not that I wouldn't want to see the data you're talking about, Brian. It's not that I wouldn't welcome that pitch data. I would still welcome it. Don't get me. No one should get me wrong. It's not that I'm not welcoming data from independent sources. It's my point being is that if the data comes from airlines, it can't be fudged. It can't be. It's not so much fudged. It can't be. Someone can turn around and say, about your data, that guy, that Brian is a liar, and some borders, and they just have to say it in chorus that you're a liar, and without any evidence that you are, right? But they can't do that with a commercial airline, right? So the pitch data from several commercial airline companies, they can't hand wave it away. The news agencies can't hand wave it away. The world can't hand wave it away. Whereas with someone independent like you, they can decide to ignore you or hand wave it away or character assassinate you. And you're not in a position to fight back against that because the tide would be too big.
You clearly fudged that data, Brian, in Discord, you dodgy mofo.
Yeah, the one thing I would say though, Bri, is that it's a stream of data The pitch data would just be a packet of the telemetry data, which would record on an aircraft, I would imagine, hundreds of sensors. So you wouldn't get just a pitch data. You would get the whole data and try and extract the pitch data from that file.
Yeah, well, if
It's
that's what
pitot
it needs
tubes,
to
isn't
be,
it?
I mean,
Isn't it pitot tubes that would give them this data? The little things on the front of the plane that they cover up when they land so they don't get flies and stuff in them?
That's the pitot tube, yeah.
Yeah, isn't that what they're using?
Airspeed. That's
Isn't
an
that
airspeed indicator.
Oh, is that airspeed? Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
What is it that they're actually
but
using? Well, that's kind of what I'm asking then in my ignorance. What is it that is the... You said it's hundreds of sensors. Well, is it? What is actually giving them pitch data?
Literally just a gyro. Whether it be a digital
horizon
or a mechanical gyro.
Hold on, get 3 answers. Brian from Discord first, then Adam.
So, sorry, just a digital gyro, I would imagine. I mean, I don't know. We've got digital gyros on the drones nowadays. You don't have a bloody spinning gyro in there.
No, fair enough.
And it will give you, thousandths of a degree if need be.
But what about on the commercial airliner?
Yeah, there's two sources on a commercial airline. There's the black box that the data will be on, and what Brian is talking about is that data being in with a lot of other data. But there's a secondary source, and that is the inertial navigation system. That records.
No, that's not what I'm
all
asking.
the
Sorry,
time.
I'm not asking where it's recorded or processed. I'm asking where it's gathered. What's the instrument that gathers the information?
I think that would be the attitude indicator, Nathan.
Horizon.
Yeah, so just back to the gyro, Adam.
The gyro that's within it, yes, but the pilot's going to be referencing with his eyes the artificial horizon. That's the thing that's going to maintain the level for him, that the 3.5 degrees that the plane will be flying at in a straight line vector will be referenced to. So that's what the pitch data is in relation to the ground, the angle of attack that it's got, and all we're looking for is to see if it tumbles, if it goes below zero, because it has to reorientate. We don't have to have monstrous amounts. We need to see if any reorientation occurs. That's all that's required.
Well, it's worse than that for them because they can't just reorientate back out to a horizontal after they've done it. They can't do that. That won't work. Because what will happen is the nose of the plane in relation to the curved surface underneath will consistently then be pointing upwards into the sky in relation to the surface underneath of a globe. The only way they can deal with it is keep that accumulated pitch below the starting horizontal point. This cruising, basically, they get the cruising altitude for the audience, they get the cruising altitude, right? And at that point, then they have a pitch of 3 to 4 degrees above horizontal, and that's their cruising altitude, a cruising speed, and that's the pitch they'll hold, right, for cruising speed. What Adam is talking about is if they're flying around the globe, that can't happen. They can get to cruising altitude, hold the horizontal for a second, and after that, there must be an accumulated below horizontal pitch from second to second to second, to minute to minute to minute, which will work out about 7.24 or something degrees. If the plane is flying at 500 miles an hour, over an hour, it'll be 7.24 degrees below horizontal.
You've got a 0.09 degree change per kilometre.
Yeah. But they're flying with respect to the horizon, and a gyro that's principles would be defied if it did this, and the flight level parallel to the ground will only be validated by a measure that is also referencing horizontal when you describe a degree deviation above or below it. These are all flat Earth prerequisites. With that, though, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow.
Can you sort that out for me?
Sort what out for you?
Can't post in the main text chat?
Yeah, it's just saying I've got a no entry thing. It's just that I've got a drone footage with the telemetry data overlaid, and it's quite self-explanatory then. Oh, no, still can't. Or would I have to drop out and come back in?
No, it's there's. I'm gonna give you a link, okay? Check out the link I'm gonna give you, and that's where you post from now on, okay? Oh, you gotta accept my messages, by the way.
Just while they're doing some admin stuff, I've muted my Discord line. Adam, QE, Brian, are you guys all right to hang out to do book stuff today?
Later on, is it?
Well, I mean,
Nope.
I'll start ASAP, but not if you can't.
I'll be in and out all afternoon.
Okay. What about you, Adam?
Yeah, I'm walking the dog now, but I'll be back in 10, 15, so I'm good from then on.
Tomorrow I'm good all day.
You're not good today?
Yeah, I'll be in and out all day today, but tomorrow I'll be good.
We just set it for tomorrow then?
Yeah, if you look at it, all the telemetry data is like a graphical overlay on the flight footage that you do post-flight. This is done on the computer, but it links to the flight footage. Well, like time stamps to the flight footage. And if you look in the bottom, sort of off to the right slightly, you'll see 20 the power, which is the battery power, then 19 satellites locked in, then the pitch angle, 0.2 degrees, and the roll angle at 0.3. Now, you've got to remember a drone flies different to a plane. For a drone to go forward, it has to pitch its nose down. So we always read a negative pitch when a drone's moving forward.
Hold on a second. Are you qualified to read these pitch data numbers, Brian?
Not really. No. I can barely make it out.
And it was being sarcastic there. That's all it was. No, exactly, Brian, because it's like a helicopter. It has to nose down, pitch down a bit to pull forward, and nose up to pull back. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you're looking at it, but you can see all the data streams that it's collected from the telemetry, and then I can download them off the flight controller, which is just a SIM card, and then there's a little program that links your video to them. So you got altitude, speed, pitch, and roll angles. And that's what we call telemetry.
That's just amazing. What color is the drone?
Black and white.
There you go. That's about as much importance to this subject.
What do you mean? Much important. Brian said he didn't quite understand what telemetry was.
What? This isn't explaining what telemetry was. What?
What you're saying?
I'm not getting the example with the drone and then connecting it to what Brian's asking for. Can you connect the two? Since the drone, when it flies, the pitch is lower, and then when it comes to not a stop but a hover, it's higher, and the pitch data is the bottom right hand corner. What?
It might be a bit above you. Might be above you, John. Sorry, mate.
I think it's below my feet.
No, I think it's well above your head. You obviously don't understand avionics.
No, but I did sleep in a Holiday Inn Express last night.
There you go, then. That makes up for it.
Alrighty then.
I would still, if Brian could get me that. You're saying it's a 0.2 degrees below horizontal is the pitch to go forward?
Yes. Yeah, because a drone is using the thrust of the the four motors to push it forward, so it has to tilt forward and basically put the nose down. Now, that's not how a plane flies. I totally agree with you. A plane has to fly above horizontal, but a drone does, and like a helicopter does, like you said, a helicopter does exactly the same.
Well, yeah, if I could get that data, because I'm open to data from all flying objects. You know, obviously, what I want is the commercial airline pitch data, or the commercial airliners pitch data, because, I mean, Adam has pitch data. Adam got the best data you could get, right? But because it's just Adam, all the borders can hand wave it away.
Yeah, that's the
problem.
Adam. Shocking.
Does it have to be a full-sized aircraft? Because a lot of people are sending model aircraft on long-distance flights and recording the same data.
I think that's got the same problem.
Yeah, it's got the same problem. It's not that it's not proving it, right? It's not that it's not valid. It's that whether it can be hand waved away or not by the opposition and by the world. That's the problem we have. Independent research can be ignored by the world.
As a comparison of what would be acceptable, right? If it wasn't commercial, if it was like a UPS flight that we got the pitch data from, well then, yeah, that's, legit. Because again, any airline pilot can look at the data and verify whether it's legit or not. I mean, if it's got a UPS heading on it, then you go, well, it doesn't get any better. It's not going to be coming down to the guy with the model has fudged the pitch data to make it look like it's a flat Earth when it isn't.
Well, there was a model that flew over 100 kilometers, and I pointed out to them that they couldn't still have had radio signal because that's like 62 miles, would have been about 3,500 feet of curvature that it would have been behind, and instantly the video got took down.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the evidences I detailed with an interview with Robin Poe really early on. She's out in Italy, near where they make Ferraris. And she's out in the hills and she's told by the book to make relays. These relays are about, 30k apart, but she can't get a connection to the relay. So she just points it at the original source, which is like 115 miles away, and gets a perfect signal.
Yeah.
Right now, at the time, she didn't give it much thought other than, great, I've done my job, I've got it working. And instantly she's told by the higher-ups, take it down. She's like, well, why? Doesn't matter why, take it down. And all the higher-ups get involved and they're all having meetings about it, and it's imperative that this is taken down.
Yeah. Yes, line of sight connection.
Yeah.
And that's what these lads had done with this it was an autonomous plane, so they just set it on a destination, but they had constant connection to it, getting telemetry back from the plane over 62 miles away. And that on a globe Earth, because we can't fly above 300 or 400 feet, I think. That on a globe Earth is impossible. So they took the video down when I pointed it out to them.
Here's another thing, Brian, and for everyone to do with flight, right? That is to come in the future, if necessary, right? Hopefully it won't be necessary.
Is the what, sorry?
Here is something else that a lot of people don't know about, right? How often have people come to you, Brian, ballers talking about, flight routes, flight this, flight that, right? Great circle routes, all this other rubbish. People don't realize that great circle routes only work exactly east or north to south and south to north. They don't work any other direction. For all other directions that aren't exactly perfectly north-south or south-north, right, they must use rumline distances. Why do they need to do that? Because that is proving that the ball is only a hijack of flat Earth measurements to Polaris. Because that's what gives us the length of the longitude lines. And it's the longitude lines, two opposing longitude lines made into a circle is all a great circle route is claimed to be. So the fact that it doesn't work when they're not using those exact north to south or south to north, right? They have to use rumline distances, which are greater distances. Because the great circle distances, when they're not using north to south and south to north, only work at the very short distance. After any kind of distance, any kind of great distance at all, they go out because it's wrong, because the Earth's not a globe. So they must use rumline distances, which prove that the Earth is not a globe. Because if the Earth was a globe, then great circle routes would work in all directions at all times, because the Earth would be a perfect sphere, which it is claimed to be geometrically. But the fact that that doesn't happen, and they can only use those great circle route claims when there's an exact north-south or south-north route, let's say London to Accra or whatever. The fact that they can only use it for that kind of thing shows that the whole thing is a fraud. Why would they need rumline distances when they're not doing that? Because they're only flying north-south and south-north in a straight line. There is no great circle. If there was a great circle, it wouldn't matter what direction they were flying. Every direction would be part of a great circle route.
Yeah. I think the globe model totally debunks itself. And it does take a little bit of thinking about it, but they tell us we're living on an oblate spheroid. Now, and you can all do this, draw an oblate spheroid, basically a squashed circle. Draw a center point and then draw radials from it, which is allegedly their gravitational vector. There is only perpendicularity to the surface at the North Pole and at the equator. The rest of them are not perpendicular to the surface. And they can't be if we lived on an oblate spheroid.
Yeah, but
I'm sorry, can you show that globe model so we can see it and compare?
Do what? I can't show anything. I'm not allowed to post.
Okay. Do you have a globe model?
Just draw an oblate spheroid. Draw
I
a
didn't ask you
central
for an
point.
oblate spheroid. Your first statement, your premise was based on their globe model. So in order to go through your entire claim, I'm going to need to see the globe model so I can compare.
It's not my claim, mate. I don't claim we live on a globe. I'm debunking their claim. By their own.
Listen closely again. Listen closely. Your statement first started off with their globe model. So everything is in comparison with their globe model. So I need to see their globe model so we can see the comparison. You follow that? Now stick with that. Globe model. You say globe model. Okay?
You're telling me you haven't seen the picture of their globe model?
That's correct. I've never seen a picture of a globe model.
Ironically, Brian, that is that you've hit the nail on the head immediately, which is good. That's exactly what he's saying.
He's being pedantic.
No. Not at all. He's being sincere. There is no globe model.
Brian, just replace globe model with the cartoon globe religion, and that would have been all good.
Okay. In the cartoon globe religion, we're allegedly living on a squashed sphere where we cannot have perpendicularity to their gravitational vector other than the poles and the equator. Every other angle is not perpendicular to the surface of their ridiculous cartoon model. It debunks itself.
He did say cartoon. He did say cartoon.
Cartoon then. Take the model off.
You also said oblate spheroid. I don't know. I think NASA is going to have to redact all their photographs for 50 years because I'm not seeing any oblate spheroid.
Oh, you've looked at their
Brian,
cartoon.
the oblate spheroid claim. Just a second. The claim of an oblate spheroid. their claim, Brian, of an oblate spheroid, where that comes from is the pre-assumption that their globe is rotating. So they have pre-assumed that over time the equator has gotten of their globe has gotten bigger, right, and stretched out their globe, flattened it out because of this rotation. But geometrically, they don't have any oblate spheroid. Geometrically, they must claim an exact sphere because they.
Brian.
Okay.
Hold up, Brian. Why are you taking this over? This is a conversation between me and Brian.
I'm sorry. I shut up.
I think he had a gotcha. So can you say your gotcha again?
Gotcha.
You were saying
you just in one of them moods like that.
Oh my God! So your claim, so your gotcha against me was, so you have looked at NASA photos? Yeah, I have. And
photos or images? I don't think they
doesn't
call
really
them a
matter.
photo.
Got him.
Look, we're all on the same side here. Stop fucking arguing with each other.
Don't let him wind you up. We all have to deal with this too. Don't take it personally.
Brian, don't give in. Keep pursuing that point. You've got him.
Do you think? No, he'll come back with something.
I heard it. Chocolate heard it.
Huey's scared of it.
It's like bringing the pigeon to the cat. Don't listen to Adam.
And do you know, I presented this to them all in GEMS, and they said, "Oh, there's multiple centres to the globe." That's how they justified having non-perpendicularity to the centre of the Earth. It's ridiculous. And of course, what Neil deGrasse says about their cartoon is that it's larger in the south than it is in the north. Why would it sag and be bigger at the bottom than the top?
It's pear-shaped.
Yeah, basically. Why? Because there's no gravity in space, is there? There's no weight. So why would it sag to the bottom in a weightless environment?
They also don't claim a directionality in space. So why would it have a proclivity towards the bottom? That doesn't make any sense.
It's ridiculous.
Is that Nathan Thompson or whatever?
No.
All right.
Maybe. It's good to see you. Good to see you, Nate. Good to see everyone in here.
I think you'll find it's Nathan Thomas or whatever.
I bet you can't get an elevation angle off the oblique spheroid.
How would you? It's changing constantly.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Don't they also assume the oblate spheroidness in geodetic surveying? I think that's part of their assumptions.
Yeah, that they measure level and then add that to it. Yeah.
We've been just destroying Globers on TikTok with the attitude indicator for the airplane because we got pilots. Everyone on TikTok's a freaking pilot, bro. But most of them will admit they don't adjust for curvature. So right there, welcome to flat Earth. But the attitude indicator, if you were going around a globe, the gyroscope, you would see the orientation of the gimbal change orientation around the gyroscope. And like nobody observes that because you're not flying around a curve.
Yeah, this is exactly what Brian's saying. In terms of the documented evidence for what you've just stated, that would be the pitch data, right?
Exactly. Yeah, the data is a good call. I haven't heard of anyone asking for it except for Brian. Hats off to you, Brian. Could be interesting.
Can I ask you a question? Is Wolfie over on TikTok? Have you run into him?
No, just people parroting his nonsense.
Yeah.
You know, because
he
like,
one side.
I was just going to say, because Globers have a religion. They don't actually test any of this information themselves. They just parrot it off other people. So they found Wolfie, and now we're hearing Wolfie, but not from Wolfie. So yeah, he's not on there. I'd love if some of you guys jumped on there. I think it'd be awesome. There's tons of Globers running their mouth, need to be put in their place. But Ain't that everywhere?
Wolfie, I was trying to get Wolfie to come up with the pitch data for years, and he avoided it like the plague. So did other claimed commercial pilots were on my channel. But when I brought the lift effect, because I kind of held that back, I didn't say anything to Wolfie about that. As soon as I started talking about the lift effect, he stopped coming to my channel on his main channel. He started coming in there on a claimed second channel. And I couldn't even verify it was him, really. And I just banned that channel eventually. But the lift effect is the reason why they have to have an above horizontal pitch. And that's the thing. And Wolfie knew it. As soon as I said it, Wolfie knew it. And he just... basically, Wolfie's... I don't know where he is. He seems to have disappeared out of the arena. I hear about him here and there, but very little.
Because he knows it's flat. It's just like that.
He's apparently drifted away.
Good one.
So has anybody looked into this Will Duffy? Anybody researched him?
We covered him a while back before he was doing what he's doing now.
He stated that he'd written 3 bestsellers, and I've searched everywhere. I cannot find anything with... Well, there is a Will Duffy, but he's like 80 years old, who was writing a hell of a lot of books. But I can't find him on any bestsellers list or...
Well, you can find R.A. Salvatore on the bestsellers list. Shameless plug into Legend of Drizzt. Sorry, not sorry for the nerds out there.
I went a little bit further on the video yesterday, just so I could evaluate whether I want to continue with Duffy and the 2 idiots from Tartaria. And somebody brought up, the long distance photo thing, and he said, "Well, this is Will. Well, more or less, I'm paraphrasing. Well, the Earth could just be bigger. This guy is a retard. He's a moron." Again?
Sounds familiar?
Yeah, he's a moron. He doesn't know his own globe religion. I told you when we first run into him about 3 or 4 months ago that he's worse than your average stink and fall ball tart from 2015. He's actually retarded. Just look at him.
Yeah, if we go by his performance so far, what he's shown, you would have to come to the conclusion, if you take him as being honest, that he has not a clue about what he's talking about.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that he's retarded.
Well, no, I just need to point out, I don't need to, no.
Hey, Nathan, I'll be in and out.
I take it that was the only thing worth noting then.
Say again?
There wasn't anything else in it, because I assume you've covered it and you're happy with what you've covered then.
I just went a couple minutes ahead, and then I went and cleaned the bathroom. I don't know if I'm going to do anything with him again, but it looks promising. Now, on to a different topic. I'll be in and out, but the ins and outs won't be long. So we could get into, the book. Follow?
What now?
If you wanted.
Yeah, we can
I
do.
will have to drop out for an hour and a half at some point, and I can come back in after that. But I'm not the main player here, so it's QE and Adam really.
Well, no, you need to be involved. So when do you need to leave?
Oh, I'll have to do it. It won't be for another 2 hours or more.
Then
Maybe a
that's
bit
fine.
more.
Yeah, that's fine then. Adam, are you here?
Yep.
So we could bust into it a little bit, Nathan, if you want.
Yeah, should we do it a bit later? That sounds good by me.
You and Brian are a little half busy, so I can flex my muscles and get in the ring now. You
Well, that
guys can
sounds
take a
good.
back seat.
Yeah, that sounds like it won't slow down things at all.
No, go ahead, man.
Because I'm into, like, now that I've ate, I'm into some really good arguments with you knuckle draggers.
You do sound more sprightly, Irish.
Yeah, yeah, a little more sprightly. Let's get on with it.
What right now?
Doesn't have to be exactly right
now. Okay.
I mean, in a while, like.
In a while? Well, you're here now, Brian, right?
I am.
No, he's not here.
But is Adam available?
Yeah.
How do you know?
He's here.
You've said it twice.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure he wasn't pre-assuming it, and you were actually stuck in more.
4 minutes to walk.
Well,
Can I just
if
say
Adam
one
brings
thing?
if
One
Adam
thing
brings
real
it up,
quick?
right? Yeah. And start going through it right now. I'm happy. I'm quite keen to actually record a little bit of you just reading through it and being critical of it, and then I'll end the after show, and then we'll start making the adjustments in a different recording. But in other words, while you're getting geared up and reading a bit of text, whatever the next couple of paragraphs is going to be, it'd be quite nice to actually have that on this recording.
Can I just say something real important?
Yeah, this won't slow down things at all.
All right, I've been watching Harry Potter and stuff, and so Adam sounds like Ron Weasley, and you sound like Stewie from Family Guy. I'm trying to get everyone else down. So anyway, continue.
That was profound. So you want to get this on? Are you sending this out to the public?
All you're going to
First
be doing is
underground
reading
circuits.
it and
Oh,
going,
not me. Okay, all right, I'm muting.
Oh my God, this is why, you see, once we've got all this squared away.
That didn't answer my question.
Yeah, there'll be a little bit of this, maybe the next 5-10 minutes, depends how long it seems to be interesting. But while we're just discussing it, I'm glad this is making it to the recording. People just get to see a little bit of the process, that's all.
Okay. Well, it's your call.
This
Are
is
you,
the bit
are you
where
going
we
to be the
go.
one reading it, QE?
Don't need to. This is the bit where we go, cut all this. This is where we got to, wasn't it?
Yes. So I think we're into summarizing the chapter.
Yeah. Because we were going to get rid of that. We were sticking with the 2. And we've done a lot of it, haven't we, really? We did.
Yeah.
We did up to here.
Yes, it's just a summary now of the chapter. That's it.
Yeah.
Remember, we were looking for a profound statement. And remember, I told you it's a lot easier to look at the chapter. It's probably a good thing. Probably a good thing to wait. Hold on. It's probably a good thing to wait for the second.
That's what we agreed. That's what I was going to say. We agreed, well, let's get it back and then we'll summarize it when we've got it, because we haven't got anything above to read to summarize because we've rewritten it all.
Yes.
That's where we were at. There you go.
So you got that, Nathan? So take out this quantum gravity nonsense.
Oh, no, I'm not actually. I'm hoping you'll just summarize what we're going to do, and then once you've got it all, figured out, We'll record it all at once.
Well, we're
Yeah.
gonna summarize this at the end of the second review, so we can move on to the next chapter.
Okay. So you want me to round out the after show? They're not that. Okay.
The next thing we can do is start reading.
Yeah.
Chapter 10.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought you were going to do now, and then just keep a note of that one note. You going to read it, Kiwi?
I don't have it up right now.
Adam's sharing it.
Is there any evidence of gas pressure without a container?
Oh, no, we've immediately got Flat Arthur screeching through the top of you immediately. Literally, the second word.
Hold on a second, guys. There's an issue with a Discord update on phones. They just come off mute just like that, so it's an app problem, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, he was doing that yesterday on my show too. He came in and his mic was all screwed up. Flat Arthur. All right. You want me to continue? Are we good?
Yes, please.
Let me make it bigger. Why is there two screens up? Eccentricity of an orbit. Can you get rid of that? With McBooger and Hanoi Gerain. Okay. Don't worry about it. I want to start this chapter by answering the question right away, and then I'll explain why the question is so important by addressing the problem. Is there any evidence of gas pressure without a container? No, there is no evidence. But why is this important? What are the implications of this scientific impossibility of gas pressure next to a vacuum without separation? Implications of no containment. Without containment, the implications are so significant, the heliocentric globe religion is completely destroyed. Remember, it's not my job to explain what the container is, or its exact elevation, or what it is made of, nor it is my job to explain its origin. I'm not the one making claims. I'm not the one making claims I need to prove. I'm questioning the claims of globers and heliocentrists whose claims deny containment and impossibility under the true laws of nature. They claim NASA freely flies spaceships outside the containment of our pressurized system on the Earth. That they have photos of the Earth from beyond the Earth's containment. That they have satellites that orbit the Earth from beyond containment, and they have powerful telescopes traveling outside the Earth's oxymoronic sphere-shaped air, taking photos of celestial bodies and galaxies. Unless they are unable to prove that gas pressure can exist adjacent to a vacuum without a container, all of the above are scientifically impossible. Let's break this down so you can see the devastating power of the seemingly harmless question. A closer look at their claims. The globe model in a heliocentric system includes what they call atmosphere, the space we live in on Earth, but by their definition, it is space, atmo, on a sphere. Hence, it is called atmosphere. This space is full of gas, which is under pressure. In other words, we live and breathe in a space that is full of gases under pressure. This has never been in dispute. That Earth, we are told, has spaceships flying through our atmosphere and right into what they call outer space. It's practically a superhighway up there, according to NASA, and ships are coming and going all the time. They also define outer space as a vacuum. How does the vacuum of outer space compare with gas pressure at sea level? At sea level on Earth, the air pressure is roughly 101,325 pascals, which is about 14.7 pounds per square inch. In outer space, the pressure is incredibly low, typically around 10 to the negative 22 pascals. I'll translate these numbers so everyone can understand the claims that outer space is nearly a perfect vacuum. If we consider the pressure at sea level to be 1 for simplicity, then the pressure in outer space would be, 10 to the 27th, 10 to the minus 27. I'm not reading all those zeros. Alternatively, we consider the pressure in outer space to be 1 for simplicity, then the pressure at sea level would be, that's a big number, greater. That's 1 followed by 27 zeros. Now you can understand the significance of this difference in gas pressure on Earth and the alleged vacuum of outer space. As the Vikings of yesteryear, I didn't think I was going to be reading that in here. As the Vikings of yesteryear would have said, that's no small matter.
Right.
Oh boy.
Stop there, because that's probably enough to be going on with to make some amendments. So I'm going to round out my after show on that note. So with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and GPUS panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams. Hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.